I'm gonna show you how much faith I have in this working. Look at me still eating, thinking it's not even gonna function. Oh, but it looks like we might have actually gotten the darn thing to work on the first try. Well, look at that. My smug face eating yogurt while I'm saying the thing's not gonna work. Hello, internets. I'm HamsterBomb. And you're going to be joining me for just another laid-back stream where I'm going to be drawing in my graphic novel today in Photoshop. I didn't really have any intention of streaming today at all, but I was going to work on this anyway, and I realized I haven't streamed in a very long time. Not just the art stream stuff, which I'm sorry I haven't done that with you guys enough a long time. I really have to get this done. But also, I haven't even streamed like games and stuff with you guys. Also, you know, I got some musics. Hopefully we can hear this. Do I get it at all? Do we hear anything? There we go. Okay. I can hear it. If you hear it, that's another thing. Let me know. I'm going to be playing some Hollow Knight music in the background. Hopefully that works. Welcome, Bartman, and tell me how I'm supposed to pronounce that name phonetically, and I will start trying. I'm not even gonna pretend to try and say your name. Between Squad and Bartman. Welcome, Squad as well. Hopefully you guys can hear the music. I can never really test the audio and stuff like that. Also, I hope quality-wise this is working out. We're using the same we did for Monster Hunter. We're doing the dual streaming thing again, trying to stream as well on Twitch and YouTube, so it really beats up my crappy internet. In fact, I probably should have, dang it, I should have called the company today. That's what I should have done instead of streamed. Shoot. Because, before we even get into this stuff, I wanted to talk to you guys for a bit while I'm eating my yogurt. By the way, not sponsored. Kim buys this stuff only because we can get it in bulk. And why not? Good for you. So anyway, you guys have known for the longest time I've been trying to get... oh, by the way, someone tell me about the audio. I want to make sure that it's quiet right now, but I want to make sure that the audio is in there. Lego Gamer apparently is the fastest swimmer alive. I can flop around in the water. I can actually swim pretty well, but I'm not fast. I had never tried racing anybody. Anyway, so Michael Phelps. I could be louder. Audio is fine. I was gonna say if I could be louder, I don't know how else to fix that, man. If I'm not clipping, all right. Thanks, guys. And Banana Man, Lego Gamer, everybody else, welcome, guys. So I was gonna tell you guys really quick. You know, I've been looking for a new job position for, or basically a new company to screw me over. Because, well, we're briefly the last ones, out of college stuff. So my big one out of college just started with a, company that's about 35 minutes from here, develops water pumps for the whole, nation. They make like a bunch of stuff. They wanted a social media marketing dude. Dude could have been a dudette, whatever. They chose me. They were not sexist. But they had me for the role, and because of like some complicated, stupid political stuff internally with their manager leaving, some new young guy businessman came in and decided to screw me out of my pay and eventually just stop paying me completely. So, that was the first one. The second one, I was working with another company about 30 minutes in the other direction from here. A company that considers itself a startup company after about 8 years of being open, and they're still not really big yet. It was kind of like an eBay-esque company where they would do estate sales for people. I was their lead photographer editor, okay, for like making the stuff look great on the website. And I did that. It actually wasn't that bad. I considered it just an in-between job because it paid so little. But it was consistent. It had hours I actually liked. And, I was fine with it. They didn't file for bankruptcy. But what happened was the guys in charge of the company basically took a ton of money, like as much as they possibly could, lied to a bunch of investors to trick them into sending them a bunch of money, and then they turned tail and left the company to ride. So everyone got laid off, and those two guys on top made out with like millions of dollars. There's a second company. Here's the third. So, third company, which was very early this year. Oh, I even have another one I can point out to you guys. I'll get to that in a bit. It's just my luck with companies in general. So as you guys wanted me to draw my life, I'm telling you, it would suck. It'd absolutely suck. Except for this music. This music is awesome. So, anyway, earlier this year, I got into another company that, I'm obviously not naming anybody, but it was an insurance, very small insurance company that, kind of also about 30 minutes from here in another direction, if you had like a triangle, but anyway. So, actually no, it was pretty close to where I was working with, the estate sales site. So anyway, they needed, a marketing videographer guy, because they wanted to do a lot of internal stuff, which makes sense. And I could do everything they was doing. I was getting trained for the entire time, but turned out the manager, which was basically like the only other guy there, and I'm not gonna make this like a religious thing. I don't want to get into that. But him and basically him and his wife and his son are the only ones that really run the thing, and they just hire a few people to deal with phone calls. Okay, and then there was me, who's the marketing guy. I was the one they were taking in. They do things very strictly, and they are, this is important to it, they are very hardcore Jehovah's Witnesses, which I don't care, you know, like, he's gonna employ me, I'm gonna do my job, whatever, man, you know, you do you. But he was like, constantly, like, demeaning me for not being a Jehovah's Witness, which is against the Constitution, by the way. He was, what else? He was also technically constantly berating me for disability, even though that's just like dyslexia and a few other little things that anyone would be like, you call that a disability? Haha, no, which I don't either. But according to like the state, you're still not allowed to constantly berate people for it. Like, he treated me like I was less than human for anything he could come up with, and I was still like, I still just need the money, I'm just gonna do it, you know? I mean, this guy honestly just wanted to be a bully, but whatever, because the worst was when I saw him doing it to other people, mostly his wife and his son. He would treat his son like his son was, less than human. I'm not even exaggerating. The problem was, his son was mildly autistic, and I got a good friend of mine who's just as autistic, if not probably more so. But the thing is, they're not less than human. It was disgusting. So I saw how he was treating other people, and his wife too. It was so sad. So I actually went to talk with her, and I said, you know, I'll deal with these kind of things myself because I just know what has to get done. But if I see this affecting other people, and I do the same thing for my channel, you know, like, trolls come on here, they'll insult and berate me, I ignore that stuff. If it gets to the point where they're attacking other people, then I step in and it's going down. And I didn't, of course, want to lose my job or anything. I just went to her and I said, I'm concerned for his sake that he probably needs to see like a psychologist or something, because he's really just seeming to be trying to berate and attack people. Of course, I'm not going into any particulars or detailed stuff, but that's just kind of went down. It was really bad. So, unfortunately, in the Jehovah's Witness household, the man is king and the woman is dirt. So all I really did was I talked to the man's dirt, and the dirt told the man that everything that I said. So of course he just got rid of me. I was like, wow. I could totally sue them for everything that he did, but honestly, I was like, I'm just gonna let it all go. Kind of a big comment here from RNG Glacier. I'm gonna read this really quick while I tell you. The fourth company. I'm not gonna go with other specific things RNG Glaceon. There's some specific stories I can tell you about them that may offend people because it's specific to what they do, but it was sickening. I've never felt so sickened by a religious group before. But anyway, because normally, like, people in the more devout religious groups, sure, maybe like, I don't know, ultra conservative in certain ways. I mean, they're there. I don't really care. In fact, you can probably consider me and the way I live, like, pretty conservative too, but I'm also not very religious. It's just me. It doesn't matter. But it's when you stomp on other people's lives and treat them like less than you are, that's really bad. That's bad, and it needs to stop. Anyway, fourth company. So, right when I was out of college, years back now, as I'm dealing with the first company, okay? I was contacted by, the college I graduated from. Just college, not my master's. Because I know I do have a master's, by the way, in fine art. And I'm getting phone... I sit down to stream, and then my phone goes crazy. It's a friend of mine. He actually really needs some help right now. Well, for the religious out there, we can make this full circle. Prayers for my friend. He just lost his grandmother, and his family is really not doing well, so... he's actually been on my channel before. A friend of mine, Zach, we call him the Canadian. He was with us on the Mario Party stuff. And, he did a speculation Smash Brothers video, and also, I believe we watched Banjo-Kazooie's announcement together, live. That's a video as well. So anyway, yep, poor friend Zach. Anyway, so the college, because I wanted to teach, that's why I went to, get my master's to begin with. Nowadays, I know how little money that makes, and I knew beforehand, but it's not worth all the effort of trying to even get into the freaking thing. Especially when people sidewind you. Like so. Like company number 4, which is a college. So anyway, I get contacted by an old professor friend of mine who I really liked, and I got a whole minor with, just in his courses, which is photography, by the way, at this college. He basically said, well, things happened, political discourse, internal stuff was going down, and it was bad, and they got rid of the original deans for the art department, merged a bunch of them, and actually asked him to step up as the dean of all of them. And he really liked me, so he was asking me if I could come in and teach some courses on, like, videography and comics and stuff that I really know and love doing. Which I was like, yes, absolutely, I'd love to do that. Well, turns out there was like a funding problem, because of course it's really expensive to do that, and their enrollment was down. So he had to try and get enrollment up so I could get in. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and figure out what I'm gonna do in the interim. And of course I did. That's the first 3 jobs I told you about, okay? So that's not working. Just a couple months ago, this was months ago, and I just finally, like days ago, told my parents about it, just because of how much this upsets me. And I've not even told you guys this yet. I'd been promised consistently that as soon as a particular professor's retirement goes up, then I would be the next full-timer to take their place. This was because when you retire as a teacher with tenure, you can kind of go like 75% of your original course count for the next year, and then it's 50, and then it's 25, and then 0. So it took 4 whole years of waiting, which I did. I waited all of that, and I've been trying to find other positions in the interim. And it was finally that year, and I was asking, like, hey, well, for one, I was saying I know there's another adjunct course that I can help him with coming up, when was it? This fall. I was supposed to teach a typography course this fall. I've been asking him about it. He's not responding. Finally gets back to me. Super short email. Normally he's a talkative guy. And he says, that position has been filled, which, by the way, I was promised I would take it. By the way, I had already studied up on it, and I had all the documents on my computer. That position has been filled, and that person has also been given the full-time status of the other professor that I was promised. That was it. He won't respond to anything else I send him anymore. So I'd been promised this for years. The one big job I'd been holding out for when I was going to get right from graduation. Promised it, and now I have nothing. So, cool. Wow. Eat my own college. Bait and switched me for years. Completely lied to me. So, good God. All right. 5th company. So, this one's just starting, but because of my faith in how bad things seem to go, I really hope this works. I say that every freaking time. I hope this works. But I'm going with the new company. This is another startup company, but this one's actually from down south. I'm not gonna say where, not say what they are, what they do, unless things actually start working. Because I know they'll end up like going through everything I say on here and find things to sue me over, because I'm not joking. The dude from the insurance company, what was that, 3? I don't know. He made an account, got onto YouTube, followed me, and started listening to everything I said after he got rid of me to try and find something to sue me over. I'm not kidding. I even said his name in a shout-out video to thank him for being there. I figured I'm just gonna be the better person. I'm not even gonna like censor it or something. I'm just gonna say it, because no one will know. You know, I know who it was. You guys didn't. So, I mean, the magic of the video was still there. I didn't want to ruin that for that. Welcome, Crystal. Sorry, I'm giving people a quick rant on, like, job stuff. I haven't even gotten anything. Am I even in the room in Discord? I'm probably not. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm in the Y Academy lobby if y'all want to jump in. The Y Academy thing, it's a Patreon role. Also, Bomb Squad members also get to jump in. By the way, my background I know is missing. It's because it's right here. It got washed. Okay, so I'm not getting rid of it or anything. Oh, thank you, Crystal. we're talking about how every company in the history of the world wants to screw me over. So this new one is like a videography, photography kind of contract thing, and it requires my drone license. I'm also a drone pilot licensed. So, oh, and Iris, welcome as well. If you guys are open, I just went into the Y Academy lobby. So, anyway, they've been contacting me, and I was excited, thinking, you know, this may finally be something lucrative. I can finally get this to work in my area. And then it turned out they needed a very specific drone model that mine can't do, like the things it needs to do. I'm like, okay, great. There was just, and then my internet was the other bad thing. My internet needed to at least be 10 megabytes per second to complete the job on time. Say if someone needs a rush order, I said I have to leave for work in less than an hour. Oh, it's a bummer. Both of you guys, shoot. It's okay, I was impulsively doing this today. It's not a big deal. But anyway, so I was like, okay, now I'm mad. I went to my internet company in this area. I contacted them and I said, guys, I'm about to lose my new job because you're not doing your job. I am paying you guys to give me 10 megabytes per second upload speed. My job requires me to have 10 megabytes per second upload speed. You instead will not come out to my house and install the fiber optic line in order to do this and they baited me into that lie of a contract to begin with. Because you're not doing that, I'm gonna lose my new job now. They set up some ticket thing and they had like a manager call me. And of course, both times they tried calling me, I couldn't pick up and I was with other people, so I gotta call them back. I honestly should have done that instead of streaming here, but that's been dealing with all of this crap. Plus from the fact that the only good news I have for you guys, Kim did get a new position in the same company. She's no longer working in food though. Now she's actually like a graphic designer. She only got paid $1 an hour more, which is a travesty. But she still has a near 9-to-5 work schedule. It's a Monday to Friday, and she'll start like around 7-ish in the morning. So that's not bad, you know? So she's got something consistent. Because of that, I wasn't like streaming on weekends because Kim's here. I'm usually trying to do things when my wife is home. You know, we're like doing chores, cleaning things together, or like maybe like get a chance to play a game together. That's all we get. So, now that it's Monday, I wanted to jump on and actually get stuff done with the comic because I feel like this is my last hope, and I've even tried sending this to a comic publisher, and I didn't even hear back at all, so I need to find a bunch more. I'm not even honestly sure what to do anymore, but that's me right now. I told you this is just like I even changed the name of the stream title. It's more like a laid back, chill chat conversation thing as I'm drawing. So anyway, got a glass of watered down tea, got a yogurt covered spoon, and see, we finally start sketching around here. Why is this not working? There it goes. Yeah, everything's a little delayed. That's weird. Anyway, no worries. From what I just heard, you need some way to relax. Yes, with this music's. In fact, I'm not even sure how far we are in here. Okay, we got a good ways to go. I was gonna say, if the playlist... We're listening to Hollow Knight, by the way. If this runs out, I will have to play another game. You guys can recommend some other game music. I will look it up. If I can find it on KH Insider's music, I will play it for you. Oh, this is a messed up brush setting. So what I do is I use Jet Black, obviously. I need to get the brush tool. It needs to be 100% hard at 10 pixels wide. That's what I go for. I'm in the channel, but I don't want to interrupt you mid-conversation. Oh, Squad, you there?
Hello.
Ah, Squad, I wonder if they can hear you. Just because I've got so many different audio things playing right now. I don't know if you're, like, impossible to hear. So, tell me about the puppy. We'll get you talking about something so we can hear that audio test.
He actually almost sent me to the clinic.
I can barely hear you, man. Something about the clinic?
He almost sent me to a clinic, yeah.
Why?
He bit my wrist. And
Ooh.
he almost slashed my wrist open.
Oh, that bad?
Almost. If he was just a month older.
Yeah, yikes.
Yeah.
Normally
Yeah,
they're, once they go from the streets to be taken care of for a while, they're not really like that. So, that's...
Not this one. He also bit my leg so hard that I lifted my foot and he was there hanging from my leg.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was bad.
That's concerning.
Yeah, then he went to sleep.
Then he went to sleep.
I mean, he was just playing around, but it was kind of hurt.
Yeah. You know, Squad, they're saying you're a little quiet, guys. Is he better now? Because he got closer to his mic, and I can hear him better. Okay, they must hear you, because they just said that's insane. Yeah, that's, Now, he's just a small little pupper still, right?
I think he's like maybe 2 months old.
Yeah, man.
I have no idea. They just found him in the quarry, so...
Yeah, right.
The thing is, when we first got him, he was an angel.
Yeah, he looked it.
He slept on my leg, and he barely made any noise. But then my uncle took care of him, and he brought him in like after 2 days of taking care of him because he needed to do something and he didn't want to leave him alone.
Yeah.
And he was, I don't think it's even the same puppy, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah, it's...
Wonder how that happens. I mean, well...
I mean, they have a toddler, so it may be because of that.
They have a toddler, and this dog almost slashed your wrist open?
I mean, it was me. It could be because he wasn't used to me or something. But I don't hear any problems from their side. I know he bites, but like, it's not that bad. I don't think it's that bad. Either he was excited because he was in another home all of a sudden and he just went berserk.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still a puppy. He'll probably grow out of it. I hope. because last year we had another puppy. He was a Rottweiler, and I had to take care of him for like 2 weeks, and it was the same deal. But he wasn't that aggressive. He was aggressive, but he wasn't this aggressive.
Right. And I see Lego Gamer saying something about abuse, but I'm assuming your uncle, of course.
No.
Yeah, that's not.
No.
Though that does happen. I'm not saying that does not happen, but this, yeah, you said this was a puppy found in a quarry. You guys took it in trying to take care of it because it was just gonna end up, you know, a pancake on the road, and that's horrible. So you wanted to take care of it.
It probably sounds blown out of proportion than it really is. He didn't slash my wrist open. He bit my wrist, and like if I pulled my wrist back, he could have slashed my wrist, yeah. But I don't think it would have been life-threatening if he did so.
Well, pups do that. You know, that's their hands. You know, they.
He was excited.
Okay.
He wasn't.
He was trying to play then. Yeah. I mean, that's the same thing with like babies. You know, they'll just grab and swing around anything. You know, I think. Okay. Yeah. When you put it like that.
He wasn't doing it as self-defense or anything. He was doing it because he wanted to be playful, but he didn't know that there's a line that shouldn't be crossed, you know.
Right, and he's just a puppy, so
Yeah, and I didn't have any toys to play with him either, so.
Oh, that usually, yeah. If you see someone say with like a German Shepherd, you don't play with that dog with your hands.
No.
No.
I tried to play with him with a T-shirt, but it didn't work. He just played with it for like 1 minute and then he went straight back to my leg. But he isn't abused. I can tell you for sure that he isn't.
You gotta scold him like immediately when they start chewing on things they're not supposed to chew on, because otherwise they get that in their head that they're allowed to do this, and you might have that problem like for years.
I had that problem with the other puppy.
Yeah.
The one I had to take care of last year. He would whine up until like 4 in the morning, and I had to wake up until like 6. And it was terrifying.
That is aggravating.
Yeah, and I didn't want to let him in or anything because that would show him that he won, and that by whining he'll get anything, so I just had to sit through it.
Yeesh.
But no, he isn't abused because my aunt, the one he's living with, they lost another dog recently, and she's been really bummed out. And so she kind of wanted a puppy, so I'm 100% certain that he's not abused or anything.
Well, I'm pretty sure what he implied was like a previous owner, but we know that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there was no previous owner. This dog is way too little. But dogs are they can just be like that sometimes, and it's not like always part of their breeding history or anything. Yeah, it's like I said before, it's like babies in their hands, they will just grab stuff. Imagine if a baby's hands were as sharp and powerful as a dog's teeth and jaw. That's what they're toying around and grabbing things and feeling them, you know, with their teeth. And they don't know how strong they are.
Children are curious to the point of destruction. It's just how it is. So
children are, yeah, and they have scrawny little meat fingers.
Imagine if they had talents.
Yeah, right. That's terrifying.
But yeah, actually today you got kind of lucky with the stream, because today I had a pretty simple day. Because we had the ceremony for the university.
Yeah.
So we started school at 2 in the afternoon, and I had only one lesson. So I literally went to the other side of the island just for one lesson, and I stuck around for a while and then came back.
The other side of the island, like I say, I gotta go to the other side. How far is that, by the way? Like the farthest drive you can do?
If there's no traffic, you can go from the longest end to the other longest end in about an hour. If there's no traffic. But the problem is every family has like 2 or 3 cars, so there's usually quite a lot of traffic. Yeah. When I went to Germany, I actually didn't know how much cars we have per family. Because over there they have like 1 car per family, if I remember correctly. And over here we're just chilling with like 2, 3, even more.
I hear you, man. Can I tell a very quick recap story? Because I just saw Hyperboy Blue jumped in here. So, Hyper, or Batman. Many different nicknames this guy goes under. I'm gonna quickly say, just so you guys understand, because before I started drawing at all, I was giving you guys a recap on a bunch of companies screwing me over, and one of them in particular would really interest Hyperboy Blue. For some of the times I was actually at the university I spoke of earlier, I actually got to teach Hyperboy Blue. And I gotta say, I'm not... clearly they ain't paying me for anything anymore. He's got some really good potential. He's really a great artist, and mostly he's got a ton of commitment and really cares about what he's doing. And that's what you need. But political crap from the upper echelons of the school itself has utterly screwed me over. I don't know if I got a chance to tell you, Hyperboy, because honestly, it was like, I found out about this like several weeks ago. You might not even know already. Actually, I'm not sure. You graduated, I think. Look at him, he's still calling me Teach.
I do that too.
You what?
I do that too. I can't stand to call a teacher by their... I can't stand to be on first name basis with teachers. Kind of see it as a loss of respect, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean...
It feels so weird.
I get that, but I try and insist on making, get people to, say your first name, just because I don't want people to feel like I'm better than them. That's... When you're on the other end of it, it feels different. It feels wrong.
It does.
So anyway, since I didn't know if I said it or not, that college completely screwed me over. I'm still not naming anybody, so of course, don't do anything about naming companies Hyper. But they'd promised me a position, a full-time position, after a certain full-time faculty member was done phasing out their retirement. And as soon as that was supposed to happen, which was this fall semester, I was supposed to come on as a full-time faculty member. Instead, they didn't contact me at all. They kept this very quiet and secretive, and I'm asking them questions like, guys, when are we doing something? Am I at least gonna come in and talk to you guys about this? I just got a message after nagging them enough about it. Nagging, I mean, like, I don't know, an email every 2.5 weeks ago, 2 weeks or so, not getting any responses. And I'm like, what's going on, And I finally get a response saying they went with somebody else to fulfill the full-time faculty position, and that same person is also going to be teaching the class that I was going to be teaching this coming fall. So, wow. I was promised that years ago. I was even told specifically to avoid getting like jobs with too much commitment, so I could take this one up when the time came. That's just terrible.
That sucks. Wish you the best of luck with your new position.
It's not even a position, it's a contract job, which, and so far, has only lost me money. So I had to drive 2 hours south of here to meet up with someone for 30 minutes to just get like a little demo of what they do. Didn't get paid for it. And then 2 hours back home. Sheesh. Well, that's the very opposite of what I had. But congratulations, that's awesome. So here's the problem, like, I get company after company after company that keeps doing this to me. Eventually, it looks like I'm unhireable or I'm undesirable or people don't want me for whatever reason, so they toss my resume aside, but really it's just been like, unfortunate stuff. So, like, company went bankrupt for one of them. I had nothing to do with that. One was a new, really shady businessman who was trying to... He actually did some illegal things at that first company. The second one was a guy who was really just into being a bully and psychologically abusing his employees. It was really sick what he was doing to some other people after I was starting to ask questions. So that was just bad circumstances. This one I was promised a position for years and then just suddenly swept under the rug. And then this coming one, I might lose simply because my internet provider doesn't want to give me what they're paying for, or what I'm paying for.
Can't you switch internet service providers?
I can, but it would be slower and costly. There's only 2 of them here. I used to have the other in this area, but the other one is better for bundles, if that makes sense. You know, like TV, internet, stuff like that. They want you to, and the phone, they want you to bundle that stuff, then it's cheaper. This other one that I'm at now, it's cheaper if you just get individual stuff, and I just individually want internet. And the other internet provider never comes out and installs fiber optic lines. The other one can and does. You'll see them around, but not coming to me.
Because recently we switched internet service providers and it was the best decision.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know what kind of numbers they've got, but the problem is, I think you have a fiber line. Is that right, Squad?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't. And if you don't have the fiber line, then no matter what you pay them, it won't go faster. That's the problem.
You don't have fiber line as in it's not installed in your home?
Oh, it's not in my home? It's not in the whole neighborhood.
You like that a bit, what?
There's no fiber lines in my home, nor is it in the entire neighborhood.
That could be problematic. I mean, I reckon the best thing you do is just take people who also have the same problem and just band together and complain.
There's nothing we can do. Because they keep it totally secretive where they're actually going to be installing the cable lines. And they don't go based on what customers ask for or want. They go based on what makes them the most money. So they're going to places with really expensive neighborhoods, which I'm not in, or really rich customers who are buying their allegiance. That's all it is.
So just crappy customer service.
Yeah. Gonna figure out what to do with this guy's hair.
I mean, the only thing you can do is just keep nagging them.
And I have been. And I never really had a good excuse until this job problem popped up. Where now I can tell them with a straight face, I'm gonna lose my job because you don't do yours.
Okay, so maybe what you can do. My dad, like a year ago, bought this. I think it's called a dongle. I'm not sure.
It's called a what?
Like a dongle. Not sure. Don't hold my word to it. But it's like a basically it's like a portable internet thing.
Uh-huh.
So,
Oh, yeah, that, I can't see that speeding me up. Unless, of course, you know, when phones get really spectacular and we get 5G, and I can seriously use 5G from my phone to
I'm not saying that you
power
use
my
the
house.
dongle to speed up your internet. You use the dongle to kind of have an isolated internet source or something, so that you won't have a bunch of background processes leeching internet, or maybe even one comes home and should be using her internet too.
Yeah, but the problem is, what's coming in straight out of the router is not even close to what I need. Like, I need it to be improved like tenfold, which is what I'm paying for. I'm getting, at best, 20% of what they tell me that I'm getting.
I'd look into it if I were you. Could be.
It's just not scientifically possible to speed up what's not coming through, you know? Like,
No, no, no.
I might be able to optimize it to, like... Heck, actually, I even bought different hardware that does optimize it better, and I was able to move it faster by, like, a megabyte, but that's nothing when I need 8 more, you know?
I don't think you're understanding though.
Mm.
It's like a portable, it's a separate internet connection. It's not the same one, it doesn't speed up what you have.
Okay.
It's a separate one that provides its own internet.
Then what's the point?
You'll have, well, you'll have less as in limited data, you'll have less per month, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not an IT.
Oh, then I can't really use that either.
But you can use it for your job only if you really need it. If you have no other option.
Think of how expensive. Here, the problem is it's a contract job, so I only make as much money as I'm not spending on it, right? And I'm gonna be spending a lot on a bunch of things like insurance. Yeah, there's so many things I gotta spend money on just to even do the job that I get a feeling that there's no way already I'm even gonna make profit on this. So the more things I keep adding on there, it just seems like there's no way this is even gonna work out, which scares me. Like, if that's not even gonna happen, am I back to ground zero again and need to start over again? Yes, my girlfriend's name is Elena, as well as the German class teacher is Elena. What? Tell the teacher by his first name and I got a dirty luck? Oh. Well, then that smug teacher can stick it. No, you taught my class the school sucks at communication. Yes, communication is certainly not something that, they're any good at. I will give you that, man. But it's a lot more than just communication. What they did to me was just straight up lied. They were just... Huh?
No, continue.
I'm gonna say they were just trying to have somebody who would stick around as a backup. At their own expense. There we go. Got what I needed.
At least so far, the teachers I've got are pretty good.
What is it with this magical place called Malta you live? Like, what is wrong with Cincinnati? I don't get it. Everywhere I turn. The only hope I got, and I'm being dead serious here, I honestly feel better about this new company because they're not from from Cincinnati.
If you hated it that much, why have you considered moving?
I have a house. Like, you know how much I would lose just trying that on the offshoot that that's honestly the problem, but people suck everywhere. It's been a pain to get the position, so I'm excited, but I can understand where you're coming from. You know, fault of your own, you begin to look not horrible, even though you're definitely horrible. And I've done, that's another thing. Like, I've done these jobs, I've worked really hard to try and build those connections, but it's the other people that burn the bridge on me, and then I can't go around and use them as a reference anymore because of what they did to me. You know? Like, the psychological abuse-loving Jehovah's Witness monster that I worked for, even though I did everything he asked, man, that was a disgusting human being. I probably wouldn't even want anybody to talk to him, even if we were on good terms, but still. Yuck.
I think I've only seen Jehovah's Witnesses here once.
I just had to put all the blinds down and pretend that nobody was home yesterday for half the day because they were all coming around in droves in their vans again. I don't know what to do. Other than, like, I'm considering putting, like, a really intimidating sign out front. Like, solicitors will be shot.
Or here's an idea. and they will never bug you again. Go out the front, open the door, and start talking to them. The moment they start talking,
No, that's
just fart as long as you can and as audibly as you can. And just try to keep a straight face. They will never bother you again.
That's the thing, like, that wouldn't stop these people. Like, I know I've spent so much time with them, I know how they live. They will do anything. It's all about numbers for them. It's not about you. Sick, sick human beings.
I don't know what to say. I've never met them.
Yeah.
I think I've like opened my door to them once. They gave me a leaflet and went away.
That's it?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they gave me a leaflet and then they went on their way.
That's insane.
As time goes on, you just keep seeing Malta as a better and better place to live in.
I think you're lying.
I swear to you, I opened my door, they were there, they maybe spent like a minute explaining what Jehovah's Witnesses were, gave me a leaflet, and then went on their way.
A minute's an eternity listening to them, though.
I mean, they were nice people though, so I didn't really mind it that much.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't like, convert to my religion now, or anything, you know?
Convert
Like,
or
hey.
die. No,
Hey,
that's not... Okay, that's not what, the people I worked with were like either. They were more like, they weren't desperately trying to get people to convert. What they did was they acted all high and mighty, that they were better than you because of the way they were Jehovah's Witnesses and you were not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just
That's wrong.
the fanatic side of the spectrum.
That's like the opposite kind of talk that we want to protect when we say religions are protected in this country. And we're like, good lord, we have people like that abusing this. But
Yeah, I dream of a day where anyone can believe whatever they want and won't be judged for it, and won't judge others for it too.
that's the one that's important for me. It's the second one.
Yeah.
Because I honestly,
Sucks.
I don't care. Let people
What's-
do what they want as long as they're not harming or attacking or infringing on other people's rights.
What sucks is that these few people just put a bad example for the others too, who honestly want just to be a good, positive influence on the world.
I understand that
sucks.
and I agree, but I've spent some time just dealing with these people, reading up on a lot of other things that just in particular the Jehovah's Witnesses believe and do, and even that in general is disgusting. There's so many things that, I'm not gonna get into it because of course like some things might correlate and go over to other groups, but like you read lists, you're like, oh my god, that they can't be real. That can't not in 2019. There's no way, and it's totally real.
Again, I don't understand anything on Jehovah's Witnesses, so I won't say anything.
Yeah, well, we should probably talk about something not this anyway.
Yeah, we should.
Sigh. So, I really need to get working on this. I need, some help, I guess, figuring out which companies to send this information to.
As in the comic.
Yes.
Do you need me to do anything, or?
Well, I just need to, figure out, like, who would be interested in this, you know? That looks really screwed up.
His feet. His
Yeah.
legs, sorry.
It was that leg. It should be way up here.
You gave him some ostrich legs.
I did, yeah. It's because I'm all zoomed in. I don't know what I'm doing. It's also, it doesn't help that the sketch is garbage. I can't see a thing. Here, let's fix this.
Meanwhile, I have the exact opposite problem. Sketch looks great, but when it comes to doing line work, I can't.
Well, I didn't bother spending time with that sketch is the issue I'm having here. There we go.
That's
It should be
why-
way out here.
That's
Now
why
I...
I'm really confident not drawing digitally. Because on paper, what I usually do, I don't like go from sketch to line work to shading. I go from sketch to shading. I like use the sketch as kind of a basis to shade.
Yeah, yeah. I used to do that.
I'm just not that confident with lines. I can't get them right.
Well, what I did, I kind of had like this weird breakthrough once where I was like really having issues trying to draw like this character I had in my head that I'd never drawn before. And what I realized was, um, instead of just trying to slowly do line work and like figure out what the character looks like, it made more sense to just kind of start scribbling the shape I saw in my head.
And then go from there.
Yeah, so I remember what it was. Like it was this it was like some cartoony dragon thing, and it was like a little creature. And I remember like I could see it in my head, but I had no idea how to put it on paper.
Story of my life.
So what I did, I really just started scribbling in like the directions that I saw what I needed. Like here, I'll even make this invisible just to make a layer really quick and show you. Right here. So if I like saw this dragon character in my head, and be like, okay, well, how can I see this quite right? Like, well, it's got wings about that size, the legs are about that size. I'll just kind of keep going. A tail maybe like yay big. And obviously, I wouldn't be pushing that hard if this was a pencil, so it's not black. But then I would like start seeing like, oh, okay, this is where the head would be.
I see.
It was like that size, and maybe there was like tiny little horns or something that I'd seen, and like one larger one. And then you can kind of, once it's on paper, you can start seeing the shapes of things better.
I see,
Yeah, and then I was kind of able to start building from that. So whenever I'm like creating a character, that's what I'll do. And then once you're able to draw them enough times, eventually you can get to the point where you're not even thinking about it. Hamster, you try restreaming to D Live. What are they talking about? I don't even know what they're talking about there. Samster TV.
Oh, you spoke of dragons and you reminded me. Right now, on Monster Hunter Iceborne, there's a glitch. As I just want to warn you, there's a glitch that you can lose your decorations with. So, I forgot how it is exactly, but I think it's like with armor sets and stuff. So, be careful.
That didn't tell me anything. I was like, by the way, there's a way that you can lose everything you've worked for in Monster Hunter. How you actually do it, I forget. But by the way, just to avoid that, stop playing. All right, cool. I'll keep that in mind.
I just told you so I won't forget. I'm going to look it up now.
If you could, that would be appreciated. Is this shift? All right. I'm gonna make some poles behind the guy. But anyway, there's a bunch of artists on the site that stream there. Oh, so it's an artist thing? I never really stream just art stuff. I'm just doing this so I have a chance to like sit down and chat with you guys because I am gonna be sitting down and working on this anyway. The only real downside is I don't get to listen to my music because YouTube doesn't like fun. So I have to play things that I instead have the rights to play, which isn't much, but it's something. So, there you go.
Oh, I think I just remembered.
Uh-huh.
Just back up constantly.
Just back up what?
Back up your save constantly.
How do you even do that?
I don't know, PS4, I don't know. Something with the cloud. But it's what I read, you need to back up constantly, so just in case it does happen, you just reset your last backup and you lose nothing.
Okay, but I'll have to look up how to do that. I'll also have to look up how this thing gets triggered. I'm assuming as soon as the fans know about it, the developers are all over it, and it's going to be in the next patch.
The next patch is on October 10th, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I don't want to make anything seem like a fact. They could hotfix it, maybe.
They might, yeah. because they do send out small patches and things like that from time to time.
Yeah, the next patch is Rajang. Looking forward to that.
Yes. Well, that's their next big update. But just like Smash Brothers, they will announce big updates but send out smaller ones in the interim just to balance things that may be problematic. You know, like I remember when Joker came out in Smash Brothers, they found out that, for example, if you won a match in Classic mode as Joker with his final Smash, do you know what I'm talking about? How he has the all-out attack from Persona. Does his final Smash, and it ends the fight there if you see it.
I don't know and understand anything about Persona or Smash.
Okay, well, Persona, our Japanese RPG, they have like this very animated cutscene attack you can do if certain requirements are met in a fight. And that's his final Smash, like a very powerful attack. And if that ends the battle in Smash Brothers, instead of getting like a victory screen, it would crash. Because no other character does that in Classic, and the game doesn't know what to do. So, for example, in that case, they obviously didn't wait for the next patch or character to come through. They just quickly fixed that, you know? So I think Monster Hunter would do the same thing. When they see something that's really bad that could potentially stop someone from wanting to play at all, yeah, they fix that immediately. And they say, well, it's okay. All we gotta do is just carve some more time off of giving people a PC version, and voila.
The PC version, I hope it rolls around in the beginning of January, because if it doesn't, I'm screwed.
Yeah, because then it's going to be out when you're in a new school semester.
Yeah, because our holidays are around from the 21st, so like 3 days before Christmas.
Right.
Up until like 7th January. And then like 10 days later I have my birthday. And I'll get to spend the birthday not doing the one thing I wanted to.
Right.
Because they screwed me over this year.
They just don't really know what they're doing, honestly, with PC games, and they're trying. I know they're...
I'll give it to them. That's their first... My worry is that they see PC as kind of this extra thing on the side and won't release it for the next Monster Hunter game.
Ooh, no. I think, if anything, if they're not gonna release one for the next Monster Hunter game, it's Xbox. Just look at the sales. You know, it's...
Yeah, Monster Hunter was like top of the charts for a while on Steam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's...
like competing with PUBG, I believe, on terms of sales.
It's a big deal.
Massive at the time.
It is a big deal.
Yeah, PUBG was still massive at that time. So... Then Fortnite came along and everything died out.
Oh, Fortnite.
Oh, Fortnite. They made an Iron Man reference in their newest trailer and I'm pissed.
Who did?
Fortnite.
Ugh.
I usually want nothing to do with Fortnite, but a friend sent me a trailer. And I just had to watch it, and they made an Iron Man reference, and Iron Man is like my favorite hero of all time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I'm kind of furious that they tarnished Tony Stark's name.
So that they're not allowed to enjoy it too.
How dare they?
Here. I have nothing wrong with the developers and people who make Fortnite. You know, it's fine. Let them do it. If anything, they're creative geniuses in their marketing. What I hate are the people playing it, treating other human beings like garbage. Mostly the self-entitled 12-year-olds from around the world with a very, very impressive vocabulary set.
Yeah, I know, right? They even teach me some things every now and then.
You play it?
No, I played it at the beginning when it wasn't really that popular, just to give it a try. And I'll be honest, it's really that. In my opinion, it's like over casualized, and
Yeah.
it's getting more over casualized.
It's definitely sensationalized. I'll give you that.
Yeah, overhyped as
Yeah.
well. I mean, when people win, they make such a big deal, and I won like on my 15th game or less, 10th, and it was a solo game against full squad, so it's not really that big of a deal. Then like a month later, I deleted it because I couldn't take it.
I'm just not. I'm not even a fan of the battle royale mode concept as a whole.
It's fun playing it every now and then, but not actually being all invested 24/7 on it.
Right? Yeah. It just doesn't seem right.
It's something to do with a group of friends, honestly.
Right.
You have 3 friends. You say, hey, let's jump on PUBG or something. Play a couple of games. You get tilted. You alt F4 the game, and you move on to something else.
Even that, I'd still say there's plenty of more fun things you could spend your time doing.
Yeah, it depends on your taste, really. It just makes me feel good making other people feel bad in the game. If that makes sense. Yeah, I like competitive shooters in multiplayer games. And seeing kind of a skill curve develop. It's satisfying in my eyes.
I like there being skill behind what you do and allowing you to get better at it, but if it's not with the right people, it's just going to be right. It's just going to be a toxic, hate-filled environment.
Yeah, I had that experience with League of Legends.
Yeah, I hear that's a real bad one too.
It's toxic. It's not as bad as you might think, but it's toxic at times. It's best if you go in with a friend. Because I used to play with some groups of friends and they were really toxic towards me.
I heard Smite was like that too, or at least got like that. I don't know if it was as bad.
I played Smite only like 2 or 3 times. Not really my type of game. I respect it, but not my type of game.
I wasn't really interested that much. Oh god, this music. I heard this. This is the White Palace.
Oh.
Yeah.
The memories. The insanity.
I'm getting stressed out just sitting here listening to it.
Yeah.
Do I see his sleeves? Okay, yeah, he doesn't have anything funky on the end of his sleeves.
I have the stream muted because having 2 Alexes talk at the same time is kind of confusing. So I don't know what you're listening to.
I don't hear anything else. I don't know what you mean.
I mean, if I have you in the channel and you in the stream talking at the same time, it would be confusing.
Right.
So I keep the stream muted. So I'll have one Alex talking into my ears.
I would hope so. Smite got toxic. It's almost as bad as League of Legends.
Again, League is toxic, but you sometimes stumble upon a few beacons of light. Every now and then.
That just doesn't seem like a worthwhile way to spend your time when you are trying to, you know, have fun.
Again, it's a game you play with your friends.
Yeah, I feel like you've got to. Otherwise...
But I have played solo. It's not as bad as people might think, in my opinion. There are some people who could ruin an entire session for you, if you're unlucky. But there are also people that can make it worthwhile. It's just like real life. Sometimes you meet people you agree with, sometimes there are people you want to punch in the face.
Yeah, well...
It's just
I talked about my real life, so if that's the case, 100% of the people I would meet on there would be the scum of the earth. Alright, fine. 95%. You guys are cool, okay?
Yay. But yeah, I get you. Some people can be crappy.
Yeah. I just don't understand how so many people will keep treating me the same way. Hey, yo, Cameron, welcome! We're just messing around today. That is one terrible looking hand. I clearly was not ready for...
Speaking of hands, right now at school I have a project going on. and I made it all about art. And I have some hand sketches next to it. And hands are the thing. No, hands and eyes are the things that I don't know how to draw the most.
I'm gonna try and fix it.
It's not that I can draw eyes. Individually, I can draw eyes pretty well. But when it comes to putting them on a face... ouch.
Really?
Yeah, I can't... They won't be symmetrical as they should. I mean, nothing's perfectly symmetrical, I get that, but...
Yeah.
You get... But I'm talking about fully cross-eyed people here.
Whoa, why?
I just can't. It's just something I haven't put down. From memory, I can draw eyes almost perfectly. I say almost very loosely. Because, I mean, it's far from perfect, but, you know, seeing it on a sketch, it looks good. It looks believable, and if you were to take it to a final product, it would be believable. But, you know, sketching an eye, I can make it look pretty good. But putting it on a face is an entirely different story. I can't.
I'm gonna put one here. An actual one, not like one of these cartoony things I'm drawing.
So, I'm seeing that the characters are based off you and Kim.
No.
Their appearance, I mean.
No.
Really?
No.
Am I the only one that sees the connection? Because at least the guy looks incredibly similar to you.
You shouldn't. It's a bummer.
Why?
Wasn't going for that.
Huh. Maybe I'm blind then.
No, you draw what you know and what you see, so it's probably just what I was doing.
That's a good looking guy.
There. That's just a really quick sketch. You don't do well, for one, I see people all the time who like go with the football shape.
Yeah.
Never do that.
I
like the first thing I drew, if you saw that, I started with the tear ducts.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, go down here. And then you always know which side of the eye you're on. Like here, even if I erased those spots, you would still know this was somebody's left eye.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then I also never just do this. You know, no one really opens their eye that wide. So you gotta use the flaps of skin to, if you were trying to fix this one, cover up parts of it. And it's not even shaped like that. They kind of sag on the sides based on the expression.
Yeah. And that's why I struggle with them the most, because there are so many emotions you can do with eyes.
Well, yeah, you just gotta draw a bunch. But honestly, I love drawing eyes. They're some of the most fun things to draw.
I love drawing eyes too, especially the highlights. I love drawing the highlights.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. You saw I did that before I did the pupil and iris too. Because as soon as you put those in there, it's like, okay, well, whatever. I just know I gotta crop them up. I'm gonna turn my fan on. I'm not leaving. I say that and he stops talking.
Sorry, I'm just tired.
Yeah. What time is it for you?
It's 8:20.
8:20. Yeah, it's 2:20 for me. Big difference.
And today was an easy day.
That's good.
I can't.
Is it one of your first days, or how close are you?
We started on the 26th.
Started on the 26th. Yeah, so was this the first time you had this course?
No, this is my second year. Because how it works here...
No, not year. I meant course. Like, you've been to this class for the first time.
Oh, no. I mean, yes and no. because
I'm kind of ignoring them arguing about spoilers for Iceborne in the comments, by the way. Just pointing that out. Continue. Sorry, squad.
So it's not exactly a course. What I'm attending to right now is a course, but in the course we have like subjects we chose, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a full-blown course yet. It's kind of like high school, secondary school over here anyways, but more complicated, less subjects, and because how it works, it's kind of a gateway to university. So every subject can have multiple teachers.
Okay.
So today,
Your
we had
high school
biology.
was like that?
No, our high school had multiple subjects, each with a different teacher.
Okay, yeah. Then what's
But
up with... Okay.
it's kind of difficult to explain without going through the entire educational system.
Yeah, I bet.
So the specific place I'm going to, it's like a separate branch of the university that leads to it. So right now I have to do this course so that I can get into university, right?
Yeah.
And in
A
the
course you've
university,
chosen.
this is the basic course that everyone needs to get into uni.
Ah. You call it
So-
uni?
Yeah, we call it uni.
That's adorable.
So
You make it
this
sound
is
so
the-
childlike by calling it that. University makes it sound like, they're kind of uppity. We just call it college or complete waste of your dollars.
But it's not the same as college because we don't live there.
Right.
It's
Thanks
like,
for joining, Iris. We'll see you later. So Kim,
yeah.
I will. Yeah.
So
Thanks, Iris.
that's the basic course that everyone needs, and to get into this course, they need a specific amount of what's called A levels and intermediates.
Uh-huh.
They're like different difficulties of subjects.
Mhm.
A levels is short for advanced level, and intermediate is short for, it's not short for anything, just intermediates. So to get into this course, you need 2 A levels and 3 intermediates, a specific subject that's compulsory for everyone, and I have to do this stupid project on, which
Uh-huh.
is extra stress, by the way.
I bet.
And that's it, I think. And you need a pass in everything. So that's to get the
It's this wrist.
course you need to get into uni. But then once you get to uni, there are like different courses you can select, obviously. And for those different courses, you need specific subjects. For example, the one I want to go to, I need chemistry and biology and B grade or higher, and then intermediate B grade or higher, which is insane. And I have to do it in one sitting. If I get 2 Bs and the C, I have to take the exam again next year. I can't take a resit. I have to wait until next year.
Oof.
Yeah, it's terrible. So yeah, now I have A-level biology, obviously, and that means I have different teachers for this same subject. I have like 3 or 4 teachers for biology. So today we had our second biology lesson, but it was with a different teacher who specializes in different subjects. So
That's
That's
not
why
how
I said
learning
this.
works. At all.
I mean, she's obviously qualified to teach the other subjects too.
I'm sure she is. But the problem is you can't, like, switch the instructor out and not expect everything to not go seamlessly with the students. That's just a mess. Oh, I noticed we're in silence. I gotta play something else here. So,
I
need
don't
a-
know if I explained it.
I need a game.
For example, with biology, we have a teacher that teaches human biology and a teacher that teaches plant biology.
Uh-huh.
I think I kind of prefer it this way, if we were honest, because that way you kind of get a differentiation between the two things and you don't get them mixed up. Because some stuff you can really mix them up. Because there's like, for biology specifically, they're like, with plants and humans, they both do the 7 life processes, but they do them differently. So it kind of helps me to differentiate between the two. I mean, it's not obviously one teaches only plant biology and the other teaches human biology. There are like stuff like biochemistry in the middle. But yeah, I kind of prefer it this way, if we're honest. Because in secondary, it was how it worked. We had one teacher that teaches us everything. And even in the off chance that you get a bad teacher, you don't get stuck with all of the subjects, or all of the topics taught by a bad teacher. You know? If that makes sense.
He paused the stream, so we had no idea what I was doing.
Huh?
No, I got you. It makes sense. I was just dancing
oh,
to
no,
music.
I see you dancing.
Okay.
I didn't pause the stream. I muted it.
Ah.
So yeah, you kind of caught.
So it's what you don't hear. I had to switch to another game, so like whatever. I grabbed Banjo-Kazooie.
So yeah, I don't know if that makes sense or not. If you get a bad teacher, you have another teacher to kind of fill the gaps and hope that she's good or he's
I
good.
still don't think that's a good idea. Even a bad teacher consistently will eventually succeed and get someone to understand at least what they're trying to do once the student gets the hang of how they are teaching and how they're supposed to learn there. But you're consistently changing it up. You've got no constant.
Oh no, it's not consistently changing it. It's like you have a set timetable. On this day you have this lecture with this teacher. On this day you have this lecture with this other teacher. It's still consistent.
I get that, but it still seems like a mess to me.
It could to someone who's not in the school. You have to kind of experience it for yourself to figure it out.
Well, I can see them trying, but I'm also saying that I've gone through a lot of freaking school, and I've taught, you know, and that seems to go against any pedagogy you can ever imagine. I can't see that functioning. Other than, like, unless they're trying to just take the teacher out, which isn't that bad of an idea, but I still don't think that's the way to do it. I don't know. I never really liked how we do education anymore to begin with, so that may be half of where my issues are coming from.
I don't have many complaints for this school. You know what really sucks is when you have a subject with like 5 teachers and each of those teachers suck except for maybe one.
Ooh.
That's where it gets spicy.
How do you define what attributes do you give a teacher that sucks?
Someone who isn't that interactive, honestly. I mean, me, I don't interact that much with the class,
so they just give you a straight lecture and just blah blah blah.
It depends, honestly, because there are many different criteria. I've had teachers where they're clearly very intelligent in the subject and know what they're doing, but they just can't get their point across.
Oh yes, I've had that too.
It's just, you know they mean well and you know they're trying, but they just can't make it, I don't want to say interesting, they can't make it possible for you to do their lesson without sleeping, or nodding off, or going out of attention.
So I'm ironically playing Banjo sleeping.
The really bad teachers, the teachers who truly suck. Because those teachers, I don't think they suck. I think they're just not experienced enough. Because if you go to them afterwards and talk to them and let them have them explain something for you that you didn't understand, I guarantee you they'll do it. No questions asked until you get. The teachers that do suck are the ones who are in it for the money, basically. Only for the money and nothing else.
How is that even possible? How can you have a teacher in it for the money? Teachers, I don't think there's a single job out there, at least in this country, that you get paid less for doing than being a teacher.
It's not, I think I worded it wrong. It's not that they do it only for the money. It's just that they're not interested in teaching anymore.
They're just doing it because they have to?
Yeah, that's it.
So, do you have tenure there?
What's a tenure?
Oh man, the absolute worst thing about teachers, tenure. It's mostly a product of unions. Do you have unions?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's ironic about our union for teachers?
Uh.
Our teacher union is called the Malta Union of Teachers, and so its acronyms spell MUT. It doesn't, from your perspective, it seems like nothing is wrong, but in Malta, MUT, it's a word, moot, which means die.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, teachers here insist on getting what they call tenure. Full-timers do, which is basically the worst thing you can ever imagine for an employer or the employed. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So, honestly, I've even told some schools that wanted to hire me, I said, don't give me tenure at all. But I should just explain what it is. So tenure is basically like a threat in the contract that the employer, the university, is not allowed to fire you or get rid of you under any circumstances for a set amount of time.
What?
Yeah. No matter what. They can't get rid of you. Unless you violate some seriously horrible things and, like, you're going to be sent to prison or something for it, but you cannot violate tenure for that. Okay? So, basically, what happens if you have someone who's on tenure, just imagine, just for 2 seconds, what do you think is going to happen when you tell someone, no matter what you do, you're not going to get fired?
They don't do their job.
They don't do their job. Yeah, exactly. So, there's no learning going on. It's terrible.
I don't know if you have it over here. Let me check.
My math teacher was like, please just open up a math book and study some. If you have questions, I can help you. Spoiler alert, she was not able to help me at all. I had a math teacher similar to that. What she did was she would basically start each class just talking about her daughter. She was just excited to talk about her daughter all day. And we all knew she would basically write on the board what the homework was going to be. She never taught a thing. She just wrote on the chalkboard what pages we had to do math problems for. So, and she also said we're not allowed to do it in class. So what everyone would do is we would hide our books inside of the desk with it open and have like a paper out so that you could write and try and do your math homework while class is going on, but you had to look at her and listen to her talk about her daughter.
Oh, she did teach you something. She taught you how to, what's the word?
Be a conniving cheat.
I know how to... What's the word? Give it a second.
Yeah?
It's not... The one day I want to use this word, it doesn't come into mind. Multitask, that's the word.
Hey. You had, vernacular failure. Yeah, but the problem is, like, there is no part of the brain that shows multitasking. It's really just dividing your resources and making you more inefficient, which is not a good thing to teach someone. I had a history teacher who also taught junior and senior football in my high school back in Austin, Texas. All he did was give us notes to jot down from the textbook and a test the next day. All it was a whole semester was notes, test, notes, test. Yeah, I've had several like that too. Bit of a lecture, test, notes, rinse, repeat.
So
I've had a bunch of teachers like that. You got tenure teachers, that's what they do. They gotta get you numbers. Convert everyone to numbers.
So let's say an entire school goes to protest against a teacher. No matter what, they can't fire them.
Nope.
That's... So you're giving all the power to the teachers and none to the students.
Yes.
Sometimes here I feel it's the exact opposite. Where I'm going, the student organizations have so much power, it's laughable.
I didn't think banjo voices were gonna be in this soundtrack, but they are, and it's great.
So I needed to ask you, as a teacher,
Former teacher, I guess, because it sounds like I'm not getting my job.
but to me you're a teacher. As a former teacher,
Okay.
what? How does it feel like when someone is using their phone in class?
Oh, or generally not paying attention.
Yeah.
Oh, I make a fool of them.
Uh,
It doesn't bother me. I just make them feel awful, and then they never do it again.
happened once. Someone was using their phone in class, and the teacher forced them to throw it away.
Oh, well, that's stupid. No.
She
What
was
I just like
obviously
finding
around
ways to mess around with them. So, what I'll do is I'll just like stop talking sometimes and just be dead quiet and stare at them. And then everyone else in the class who was paying attention knows. So they all start staring at them too. And I'll start inching my way closer until I'm right on top of them. And they realize that not only were they busted, everyone's staring at them and has been staring at them for a while. If you find a way to embarrass someone doing something, you know, it's like Pavlov's experiments, you know, just negatively encourage somebody to not do the same thing over and over again. They'll stop. Give them reason not to. Huh?
Don't get me started on Pavlov because I will never stop.
Yeah. It actually...
I have psychology in school and I love it.
Ah, well here, have you heard the Pavlov-esque studies they've done with plants?
No, actually.
That is freaking amazing. So what they did is they've done studies where they've tried getting plants to learn by using that same kind of methodology, and it was working. Like the most bizarre things. So like they would get certain flowers, say like a sunflower or something, that will turn towards the sunlight in the morning. They had sunflowers in a controlled environment where they would basically have the sunflower face a heat lamp, and then they would turn, at the same time they turned the lamp on, they would turn like a fan, rotary fan on, okay? They would do this enough times, you know, like, I don't remember how many times, but it was not a lot. And eventually, they could just turn the fan on, no sunlight, and the plant would turn towards the fan.
That's classical conditioning at
Yeah,
its finest.
it's straight up conditioning, but you could do it to a plant. So that's what they're like, that plant just remembered something. How do you, like, so they're like, everything we know about memory and how the brain works, clearly there's something we're missing because this plant just did it. They also did really weird ones, like, they, had this, I gotta show this with my hands, I'm never gonna finish this panel. They had this, pot for a plant, okay? If you kind of watching my face cam, they had a pot for a plant like this, okay? They have a plant above, obviously. And then inside the pot, there were 2 tubes. Those tubes, like, filled with, obviously, gardening soil, right? Because it's still inside. So 2 cylinders of the gardening soil will come out. On one side, it was connected to running water. The other side, nothing, okay? They wanted to know in which direction are the roots gonna grow. Because they were like, we're not gonna water this plant. Every time they did this, the plants grew towards the running water. They're like, that's kind of neat. But then they stepped it up a bit. They're like, all right, this time make just a pot, and then to its right have running water. Not even connected by the soil. The other side have nothing. They still grow towards the running water. And then they went one step further, and it was even weirder. They said just the pot, and then on one side of it, an iPod playing the sound of running water. No real water. And on the other side, nothing. The plants grew towards the iPod.
That made sense. That made sense to me until you mentioned the iPod.
It makes sense for, like, anything other than a plant.
No, it does make sense for plants too.
How?
I could go into it, but I'll probably never stop. It's about tropism. It's how the plants are. For example, if you throw a seed into a field, how does the seed know where to grow the roots and where to grow the shoot?
I have no idea.
How does it know which direction is up and which direction is down? Also, how does it know that? How does it know?
Well, here, it doesn't need to know the direction. As long as it's affected by gravity, it should naturally just move. But
Exactly.
the problem is, it needs to, for one, to listen to the water. It has to somehow hear or feel vibrations, very subtle vibrations that are attributed
That's
to,
weird.
yeah.
That's
And then to be able to condition it to turn towards something that was attributed to sunlight before, the fan, it remembered it. Have you also heard certain plants, now we're just getting into a science lesson, this has nothing to do with art. Certain like forests, underneath their roots, they're all connected to each other by this very tiny white fungus. And the fungus is half parasitic, half helping the trees. It feeds off of some of the nutrients coming through the roots, but it also helps the trees by acting like a giant nervous system.
okay. So that's called it's a symbiotic relationship. It's called a
Yeah.
mutualistic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Mutual, I believe it's mutualistic.
But what they do
Yes.
is say like one tree is being attacked by a certain insect, right? Immediately the tree can send out a message to all of the others in the forest through this fungal link, and it will tell all the others to start emitting this, maybe an odor or a certain kind of thickening to their bark that prevents those insects from getting in. So only one tree dies and the others survive.
That's cool.
That's messed up. They're so smarter than we realize. But the thing is, they're smart in a way that we can't really register. I don't know how you're supposed to measure that. I mean, you should know for psychology stuff. The way we quantify intelligence is boneheaded.
We haven't got to that part yet.
What do you mean?
We've mostly. What do you mean by boneheaded? Because I've only studied psychology for a year. I'm not.
Oh, man, I haven't even studied psychology, and everyone's just
It's
lurkers.
It's so cool. Honestly, I'm thinking of switching to psychology as a profession. It's so cool. I love it so much.
The science of screwing with people.
Yeah, that's what gets to me.
Yeah, like those famous prison experiments and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was just going to mention it. The Stanford prison experiment. I enjoyed it so much. This year we're going to talk about stuff like schizophrenia.
Oh gosh, yeah, I've
About
looked into that quite a bit.
Yeah, we've covered schizophrenia very briefly last year, but we're going in depth this year about a bunch of mental disorders, really autism, schizophrenia, psychosis, and stuff like that. So it's
There's schizophrenia has a lot of other issues that are attributed with it that are not as sexy for Hollywood to point out, and so people tend to not know what they are, and those things are the warning signs that you need to get checked out before you realize you start having serious mental problems where you might start seeing and hearing things, you know. But of course they don't tell you that. I'm gonna very quickly run to the restroom, so I will be right back. Hold whatever thought you had. Bird.
Okay.
Alright, Mr. Bomb, I'm back.
Welcome back. So, what I was going to say is this year, what the previous year, what we covered was the 5 schools of thought, psychology, the main 5 ones, anyways.
Uh-huh.
You know what they are?
Dude, it's been a long time.
It's like
I'm sure
it's
if you reminded me, I'd be able to get back into it, but...
it's like the 5 major theories regarding how the mind works and stuff. So there's it's been a while since I studied them. So there's functionalism, structuralism, behaviorism. I was going to say socialism, but that's not.
Oh, what? I was gonna say socialism, but we proved that one was bunk.
Yeah. So there's. Let me start again. Okay, I remember them. Functionalism, structuralism, behavioralism, humanism, and psychoanalysis. Find the other one out. Anyways, so functionalism is like, I believe, the first one, the one that started it all,
Mm-hmm.
and it had people like Tichenor? No, it was Wilhelm Wundt. He was the one who started it all. He's the daddy of psychology.
The daddy.
Yeah, he's the big boy of psychology. He's the one that started it all.
I'm glad it's not Freud, because that dude just made crap up.
Psychoanalysis. I love it. Psychoanalysis. I don't know why. I love Sigmund Freud so much.
I have a video on my channel. Have you seen it? It's kind of old. Just bashing Freud.
I love Freud.
Just make fun of him so hard. Just type in HamsterBomb Freud. You'll find it.
HamsterBomb what?
Freud. That's all you need. You'll find it.
HamsterBomb Freud. I love Freud so much. Because he's... What? Wait, is this the one?
Also, if you want to see me in a wig, then watch that video.
I'm going... Let's open that tab. I'll watch it later. But I just love Freud because his theories are so incredibly
Ludicrous,
that,
proven wrong.
Yeah.
Which one do you want? Absurd, making a fool of himself. How about blatantly incorrect? There's a lot of dumb things he said too.
I'll be honest. Some of the stuff does make sense on a fundamental level. Some of the stuff. But you have to.
Well, here, I'll give him, sitting down and talking something out with a person in a comfortable environment. Yes.
Yeah,
everything else is baloney.
Have you heard of the Oedipus and Electra complex?
I'm trying to hear you through the and you're cutting out a bit. So what?
Should I? Sorry, I have it downloaded. Have you heard of the Oedipus and the Electra complex?
Yeah, the Oedipus. Yeah, we say Oedipus here, but
Okay.
it's been a while. I actually talk about it in a video. I forget. Like, I don't remember how long ago I even made that. I made it for a class, and I was trying to just make a point because that instructor was like so far left-wing loony that we couldn't learn anything in the class. But I found out later he was actually hired by the school on purpose to basically just... It was a mandatory class to pass for my 2-year master's degree in a completely unrelated field. It was just to try and turn us into good little fact-ignoring, hardcore, far-left liberals. And I was like, I prefer thinking for myself and actually looking up information. And this dude, I just, like, couldn't stand. And that video is kind of a product of that.
Isn't that technically propaganda?
Isn't that what?
Technically propaganda, kind of.
In a way, I mean, the thing is, by forcing me to do it, yeah, and giving me a bad grade for believing something contrary to what the guy believes, yeah, that's what he did. And, so, yeah, I was actually The problem was, I would have gone to the news, but the news around here is predominantly just as biased. So I'm like, well, whatever. There goes that. They can get away with it if they're on their side. That's the problem. Over here. Over here, like here's what I don't understand. If we're gonna throw this out, how come, gender is a spectrum now, but in the West, your political beliefs are binary. You have one thing or you have another thing. What is wrong with the morons who concocted that crap?
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of podcasts about that recently, but I won't go into it because I don't
Right.
want to get either you or anyone else in trouble. So
Right, that's why I was kind of I'm still saying super generic, but
yeah.
even still, like,
Uh-huh.
just so that people don't feel like I'm a particular binary solution, which clearly I just said I'm not. I have problems with both of the binary sides, but I have things I'll agree with both sides for. But of course, as soon as you say you agree with one thing on one side, then you're suddenly a hardcore that directionist. When I'll turn around and, like, slam them later, it's all messed up, man.
Yeah. So many people want to push their agendas.
Yes.
They don't know what's an opinion versus just outright factors anymore. But we should probably not get into that.
Nope. That's why I had to do a little dance for getting a jiggy. I had to do a jiggy for getting a jiggy.
So about Sigmund Freud, because we kind of went off topic there.
Or about Banjo-Kazooie.
I understand nothing about Banjo-Kazooie. You have to understand, I'm like 10 years younger than you.
Oh, man. You missed out, man. Well, just in that regard, can I quickly point something out that's something very amazing that I feel like I got to live through that no other generation in the history of the world ever gets to, or will ever again, is, I remember the internet not existing. I remember when games were suddenly something you could carry. I remember when you could actually buy a cartridge of something that you saw only in an arcade and bring it home with you. And then I saw those same games come to something you could hold, which was amazing in itself. And then those same games looking tremendously better as the franchise and everything started figuring out how it wanted to do its own thing. And then the internet came around that point, and it would kind of destroy what strategy guides were. Now they're more like collector's books, and you could basically like read your way through almost anything, and people would tell you secrets, and game development completely changed from that point on. And I don't see anybody who's going to be able to do anything like that ever again, see the whole spectrum, because now I see games and how complex and crazy they are, and I would have never expected anything like that when I was a kid. But I get to play things like this now, and it's unbelievable.
If it makes you feel better, I kind of lived through that too. Because when I was young, I didn't have a computer or internet or phone or anything. And when my dad bought me my PSP from Sicily, it was mind-blowing.
Well,
yeah.
Nothing to a PSP, but still, that's what I'm saying. Everybody else is gonna have. They're gonna go from nothing to what we have now, or something similar. I'm telling you, I went from 16-bit black and white, 8-bit music, to what we've got now in, from what I consider, a very short amount of time. It's like every year it's tremendously bigger and better, and they keep one-upping themselves in amazing ways that I'm just like, holy crap. Because I keep thinking all the way back to the beginning, like, this is insane. I'm gonna jump ahead. I'm actually kind of tired of doing this scene. Well, I could probably just get ahead with doing this now because I just drew those characters. Sigh, fine. What do I need to do for this layer?
I think I'm exactly 10 years younger than you.
Are you? You're 17?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I am. I'm 18 next January.
Yeah, Banjo was, just in terms of gaming history, a very important one for a lot of people in my generation. That it's astounding that it can actually get to this point where he can suddenly show up in Smash Brothers, like this long forgotten property.
I didn't know who he was until the announcement.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god. So Banjo-Kazooie is actually the 10th best-selling N64 game, and N64, like, as soon as... See, like, the 3D game, boom, was unbelievable. There was... I can't even describe it, because it can't ever happen again. Like, if you imagine every game you've ever known, everything you've ever played is two-dimensional and looks like... look at the library we had to play. We have, like, the best things at the time were, like, Link to the Past, you're playing Super Mario World, Super Metroid if you're just on those consoles. You also got like some Street Fighters. You got like the early Mortal Kombats, which were getting hit hard by the early ESRB. And then you go from that stuff. All of a sudden, 3D looked like magic. Like,
Yeah.
people couldn't contain themselves of how that looked. And normally, like, the top-selling best stuff that sold and people played and enjoyed were the main company's biggest the huge hard-hitting games like Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy VII, those big companies. You got Square Enix, you got Konami, companies people know and enjoy. Rare kind of came out of nowhere. Their first project was supposed to be a Super Nintendo game. It took a little too much time and work, and the N64 was coming out, they decided to repurpose it and turn it into a 3D game, and it turned into Banjo-Kazooie. So this was the accumulative of an indie game being so, like, the first huge kind of indie game being so big, it stomped on the first party stuff. And everyone was playing this. Like, and it kind of was defining a new genre that didn't ever really get played again, which is so sad.
Well, in my defense, gaming's never been really that big in Malta until recently. So it's kind of difficult to get some news on that.
Gaming here's never been that big a deal. It's what you make of it, Everything's what you make of it, but I'm gonna try and get this.
Here it's rarely talked about. Over here, everyone's insane over football.
Well, they do that here too.
And I mean, football is the one you play with your feet.
I understand. My brother is very into soccer, as we call it. It's just all kicking balls to me.
Yeah, I can't stand it. And
It's so not interesting. And now that I know that I can... Like, I think the only sport that is less interesting to waste your time watching is basketball.
I like basketball.
Maybe to play. Yeah, like, maybe to play I can get. It's a little bit more fun to play, but good lord, watching basketball's just a drain.
Yeah, I've never been a big sports guy. And the thing is, what made me hate football even more was the fact that people are so into it that you kind of get judged for not playing it.
Yes.
And it made me hate it even more.
Mm-hmm. Well, growing up, I was pressured into playing a bunch of sports I didn't want to play, and I never liked. And, it was horrible.
And you know what really sucks is the fact that so many PE teachers base your athleticism and how you perform on how good you are at football.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe...
Well, not just specifically football, but the same thing happens here. You actually get graded based on, not effort, but your performance scores.
But I don't care about the grades.
Oh, that matters here. That's like you're not getting into your college because of a stupid grade problem. I actually was like 1 decimal point away from summa cum laude instead of magna cum laude. Do you even know what that is?
Nope.
Okay, it's basically just a dumb Latin phrase to describe your GPA without saying the number. And
what exactly is GPA too? Because I never understood.
Oh man, okay, so It's a way to convert all of your grades together into one number, basically.
Okay.
It's just another
That
one of
does
those
make
sick
sense.
ways, if you want to go back to psychology, another way that people are trying to compare their intelligences together in an unfair, totally biased way that makes one person feel smarter than another person.
Yeah, that makes no sense in my opinion.
Right, like IQs. IQs are just bogus. Um, but anyway, so that's what the GPA is, and magna cum laude is like the middle of the road. Just cum laude is the bottom, and summa cum laude is the top. I was 1 point away from summa cum laude, and I missed that 1 point because one teacher, ironically the same one who promised me the job and didn't give it to me later, the same teacher who I had a project I finished it for, and he had a mistake in his grading. I pointed it out to him, and what he did was he said, well, don't worry about it. I'm sure it's not actually going to affect anything. It did.
It did.
That was that one project ended up being the swing to change my A to a B, and that's what matters for the GPA, and that in the GPA, combined with all my years, was the 1 decimal point that took me away from summa cum laude to magna cum laude. Yeah, and it was not my fault. I did the project. I did everything I could. It just... people.
Yeah. We don't have that problem here at least.
Well, you've got other issues, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I would hope so. Otherwise, I live in a hell. And everyone seems to be out to get me. Every freaking day.
We have other issues, but it isn't out of this world.
Out of this world.
We don't have GPAs here. It's just based on exams. Exams. We constantly have exams and assessments for the exams and exams for the assessments and exams to get there, and you have to get there to do the exams, and it's a mess of exams, but...
I mean, that's what we have too, but we also have all this other crap to do on top of it. Like,
explain this.
I don't know which tests you do. Do you have, SATs? Isn't that a standardized, I forget what they call it. But there was supposed to be some standardized testing thing that was a universal test that they sent everywhere. I don't know how far-reaching that is.
No, you know why? Because over here, let me explain the educational system very quick. So you have kindergarten, then you have primary school.
Yeah.
At the end of, you have 6 years primary school until year 6. Then you finish year 6, you do your benchmark exams, which I don't know what the point of is, because I'm pretty sure, I mean, they can get you into some private schools, I think.
What are you gonna learn when someone's 6?
Huh?
What are you gonna learn when somebody's 6 and taking an exam?
No, not 6. Year 6. There's a difference.
Year
It's like-
6. Okay, that's more like a 12-year-old, right?
I think 10 or 11.
10 or 11. So you're counting kindergarten as a year.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. How it works is we start kindergarten at like 2 or 3. I think I started kindergarten early because I was born in January.
Yeah.
So the other people who are 3 or 4, who were 2, like they should have been in the same year as me, but because I was born in January, I had to start school early.
Yeah.
So I did 2 years of kindergarten instead of 1. So then we start, I think, at 4. Year 1, year 2, year 3. Those 3 years we don't have exams. Then from year 4 upwards, we have like half-yearly exams and normal end-of-year exams to get into the next year until year 6. Once year 6 rolls around, you have to do the benchmarks to get into secondary. Once we get into secondary, from there we choose our subjects, our main subjects that we're going to specialize on, and our language, obviously. And we have a bunch of other subjects which are compulsory. We do 5 years of secondary school. Then we have exams which are called the O levels, which are short for ordinary levels. From there, I think you finish O levels at like 15 or 16, I believe. From there, based on what O levels you decided to take, you go through your post-secondary school or decide to go to work. So for someone who, for example, isn't good academically, but he's really good with his hands, he might want to go to work immediately. But for someone like me who wants to continue the academic route, it's best that we choose a post-secondary institution to go to,
Mm-hmm.
and you get into that institution based on what O levels you have. It's the O levels are more of a stepping stone than an actual necessity for the job market, because there are stuff much higher than it, than O levels, obviously, like doctorates, master's degree, and so on and so forth.
Uh-huh.
That if you have them and you have like 5 O levels compared to someone who has like 11, that won't really matter that much.
And then the Jinjo just, randomly yelled.
So for me, I think one of the biggest mistakes I did was I kind of went big with my O levels. I did like 11, whereas other people would do like 6 maybe, and they'll end up in the same position as I am right now.
Mm.
So that's one of my biggest mistakes, because I took a bunch of because my reasoning was, if I spent 5 years on a subject, why should I waste it and not do the O level for it? Right? But at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of stress
Yeah.
when it comes to the exams. Because for example, my O levels, the two I focused most on were chemistry and biology. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And chemistry was the subject that I kind of struggled in. And to make matters worse, they gave me one subject which was compulsory to take at school, but it wasn't compulsory to do the O levels for. It was like interlinked with my chemistry exam. So I had 4 days non-stop of exams where I had chemistry, environmental studies, chemistry, environmental studies. So I had to kind of shift between studying for the two, which kind of ruined my flow, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't get a bad grade at the end for chemistry and biology. I got them both 3, because how it works is like 3 is like a C, basically. I think, maybe, not sure. Anyways.
C is about somewhere between 78 to 85-ish% of 100.
See, it's difficult to gauge exactly.
That changes all over too, so it's hard to say.
It works on a bell curve, right? So if a lot of people struggled because the exam was incredibly difficult, and if I, for example, got a 40%, I could have gotten an A still, because I was still in the top percentage of students who took the exam. So it depends on how the students did, but it's more or less like a C, because it's always averages up. So I took the exam, and we also have an option to take the exam for London, right? The GCSE, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had the option to take them as well. So because they are exams and their
JK
exams
Flay's
are
comment.
exactly. Huh?
JK Flay's comment. I get off from school to hear more about school. Neat. Yeah, we should end this soon.
Okay, let me just finish this then. Because London's GCSE and ours, the grades are exactly the same. Right? It's just how they're graded is different. Instead of them being graded based off numbers, they're graded off letters. I got chemistry in Malta 3. In London, I got a B. And there's a huge difference in difficulty. The London exam focuses more on quantity, while here it's mostly how the teacher will get you. So yeah, I don't think it's universal, because Londons are much easier. And I honestly didn't study that much for Londons anyways.
Well, certain countries, their educational systems are just a lot weaker, or some of them are just very easy.
It's not that it's weaker, but it's that our educational system is just tough as nails. You know?
Yeah.
The University of Malta is kind of hailed as being a very good university, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, there's a lot of universities around here that are also taking that approach. They're considered extremely difficult and grueling, but I've been there. I've taught at them. No, of course they're not as bad as I've seen some other countries that are just an absolute joke, and they really just want their numbers up. So they'll find ways to skew it. They'll make it so that the grade. This is the funniest thing. They'll actually change your grade point averages, which is your GPA. They'll actually change their grade point averages for the entire school to not go on a scale where 4.0 is perfect, straight A's, and 0 is failing. So some schools, to try and look better, honestly changed their system so that instead they went up to 5.0. All that did, it didn't change the scores of the students who were nearly failing, but all it did was it made their so-so students suddenly look like they were, yes, a genius. Like, oh yeah, well we have a bunch of students that are scoring 3.8s, 3.9s coming out of our school, which, since they're suddenly using a 5.0 scale, that means you got a bunch of freaking idiots that are the best students you have to offer. Whereas you go to another school that's actually using the 4.0 system, they're like, yeah, well, our 3.5 students are smarter than that, tremendously. But
yeah, here it's the exact opposite. Some courses in uni are specifically targeted, so that in the first few years of you taking the course, they're aimed just to get as many people to kind of lose their hope and drop out of the course.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that here too. We have actually where I got my master's degree. What they love doing, I'm trying to make this guy look a little funny on purpose. What they love doing is they take in a tremendous amount of students for their freshman year of school, and they will intentionally, even though they can't even like teach that many students, they know that they're gonna either fail or get rid of a huge margin of them, so that way they're still gonna be able to teach that many.
Yeah, I had a teacher tell me that our university is the first few courses are specifically targeted to get people out. It's because a lot of people want to work like in high-end jobs like doctors and lawyers, and so many are getting into it that we don't need any anymore, but we still need them, but not that much. Right now, what we're suffering from is teachers. There's a huge lack of teachers in the school.
That's messed up.
You know how bad it is? The principal of my school is teaching me physics.
Well, principals teach all over. I mean, my high school principal, actually every principal I've ever had has also taught. That's just a thing.
It's not here.
Okay.
I've never had master or principal teach me a subject. Ever.
Seems a little weird.
It could be that this school specifically just does it all the time. But it's weird having... Over here it's weird seeing... Like, imagine a prime minister coming to teach you a subject at school.
It's not the same thing.
I know it's not the same thing, but it's how it feels here. It feels weird.
Okay. I don't know about you guys in the chat, but that's something that was every day for me.
It feels weird here.
I'm gonna try and involve the chat somehow, because
cool
I feel like I've just been chatting with you, which is fine, but I don't want to exclude people. Oh, because people are easily offended by sheer mention of what they dislike. Well, I don't know what escalated quickly. I only remember when the internet was still new a thing. I played old games before to fully appreciate them. Almost makes it sound like America is the worst educational system out of the rest of the world, though it can be a pessimism talking again. That is an extreme exaggeration. Just because there are problems with it doesn't mean that it's the worst. People still come from all over the world just to take American courses at colleges. So
there are some good courses there.
Huh?
There are some good colleges there.
Yeah, there's plenty.
Is Harvard American or is it English?
Harvard's American.
Ah, yeah, that's one. We always hear of Harvard. And Yale, I think
Yale.
is, yeah.
But I mean, even
It's kind
those particular ones you mentioned, they've also got tons of issues with, man, name anything. They have a certain, I forget if it was Harvard or Yale, recently had one of their graduates expunged from their records because he ended up being a murderer or something. I mean, they got problems with racism. They got problems with being biased to not let in certain, maybe even homosexuals into certain classes. Now, of course, they get heavily scrutinized for that kind of stuff, and it changes. But I mean, the students, of course, there's so much everywhere. I mean, I was gonna say starting marketing school is getting a little depressing. Yeah, we need another topic here. And I just finished drawing this dude pushing this lady in a wheelchair, so I need something else.
Let me go take a tinkle real quick and I'll think of something.
The tinkle will be taken. I'm gonna draw this dude who's
I will
holding
take
his
a tinkle.
phone.
I'll be right back.
Alright. Alright, so Cameron, we gotta figure out some other thing to talk about here. At least that figure. That's the way it should be. I'm gonna give him a little bit some fingers. That's about all we need. Thumbs up there. And phone. Bum ba da 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 dun 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 dun. Oh, actually, this is Mad Monster Mansion entrance, I think. I don't know, but yeah, it's so weird knowing that people are gonna be playing Smash Brothers or something like, and they missed out on so much gaming history to not even know Banjo-Kazooie. It's sad, because that's like so important. You know, at least I would see that's like super important. Like if I was gonna tell a history of video gaming, Banjo-Kazooie would come up. It's a very important, crucial game. Kind of like you're telling the history of video gaming. You need to tell the story of Rob the Robot, which is another forgotten relic of the past. You got to tell the story of Nintendo and Sony partnering temporarily before the 3D video gaming era to try and make a disc system. And Nintendo sidewinds Sony, makes their own with another company called Philips. We know what happened to the Philips CDI, but Sony decided to stick with their project anyway, and they ended up with this little thing called the Sony PlayStation, becoming Nintendo's biggest rival. Crazy. There's so many things that you miss out on when that's all you're telling. You know, it's just the modern stuff that this little scraggly moron kid I'm drawing is not gonna know. Scraggly little self-righteous dweeb. What?
I have returned.
You have returned from the tinkle. If you writing lyrics so hard lately, all the stuff in my mind, I can't even focus on my hobby. You know, Glacian, I was actually gonna write today instead. I was thinking of adding another chapter to this book, but I don't want it to take forever. You know, I want it to come out. So, at the same time, I wasn't feeling it, so I know what you're talking about there, of like having issues of trying to write something.
Okay, so I know you're into space, right?
Oh yeah.
So I've kind of had this thought in the back of my head for a while, and I wanted to share it with someone.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so in the far future, when we're colonizing other planets and stuff, like it's no big deal. You know what would be a really cool experiment, a long-term experiment? Imagine throwing onto a planet, putting people there to colonize it, that are seen to be good people, like people who aren't racist or homophobic or any other phobics out there.
I see where you're going.
Throw them all on the planet and wait a couple hundred years. Do you think racism, homophobia, or any of the other phobics will come around again?
No, and here I'll tell you why. we've already got places like that in the world where you'll go find native tribes that have been around for freaking ever, and they don't have homophobia or racism or anything like that. It's because of their sizes. They understand, or like they live their lives in a way that doesn't matter, and everyone is still in a small enough or a large enough community to where they don't really grow and change substantially enough to where, you know, they've got different governments or anything, right, like that. So they've got like no other reason to really hate each other. Yet, I mean, of course, violence, crime, and everything still happens, but it's not like people are inherently, or if we're, maybe you're going like genetically inclined to just hate each other or find things to hate about each other. I mean, people do that. They do a lot of stuff. You can also, a lot of it is a learned ability, as I think you've seen from psychological studies and stuff like that. But I don't think that if you had a plan, no one would ever let you do that.
Obviously.
Right. Even if, as a thought experiment, I feel like we have learned enough about how humans behave here. The only thing that might be interesting is to see, say if you took that tribe, okay, as a fresh starting point, and you let them populate an entire planet over thousands and thousands of years. One, no one's going to care about that experiment because you're going to be long, long dead before your results are ever shown. You got to find some way to simulate it, which I think is the more likely solution for those things. We're going to have computers strong enough to do entire simulations, which is another whole discussion in and of itself. But
although there have been some experiments that span over 100 years or so.
Yes, but that's because it's in someone's lifespan. They won't do one more than that. So, anyway, say you're at that point where you can somehow, I would use a simulation, but say you're using a simulation to get this tribe to inhabit this planet, and you let them go for, like, say 10,000 years or so. Enough to let them spread around the planet, which, because of the planet's climates, and I'm assuming it might have seasons just because of a tilt on its axis. I would hope it has one. If it's sustaining life, it's got to be able to tilt just enough around its star so that it's evenly distributing the heat. So I'm assuming that's the way it works. And if that is so, those people are going to naturally start changing skin color from one another. And then you can start hearing dialect changes that are severe. They might even, like, branch out into a different language. And if that's the case, what happens when you take those separate people and bring them back together again in a new pseudo-America? I assume that's what you're talking about, right? Would they still inherently find something to hate about each other? Because I still don't even think, you know, like, racism's not natural. That's something that some people, it fits a political agenda. That's one big problem.
I might disagree with you on that, because I think everything is a result of human instinct, right? So, back in,
that instinct I think you're gonna get to is like a tribalistic us versus them, because that is what comes down to everything.
So I'm just going down to common sense, so don't quote me on anything. But I believe that there are different tribes, and so it's an us versus them mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So our brain kind of leads us to hate them, so that it ups our effort for the competition between us, so that we win. You know.
Well,
so
that's if well, here, I think. Let me put this one at you. Say you did take that tribe from Africa, right? So wherever they are, there's a bunch of all over the world. Say South American tribes or anything. So say you got a tribe that doesn't have these issues. If you put them on that island, they're living enough to civilized enough to where they right now don't have an us versus them. They typically don't. Okay, they like protecting their land, and they don't really interact too much with other people. They know that they're out there, they know there's other technologies, but they don't really care, right? So if you take that from their starting point, you will, I think, breed out the us versus them instinct pretty quickly. You can breed a lot of things out of almost any species very quickly.
Have you heard of Sentinel Island?
Sentinel, that sounds familiar, man. I want to quickly, before you we get into that, since I am streaming both on YouTube and Twitch, and this is just a laid-back thing, wanted to welcome Ninx H5. Man, I'm not even sure how I'm supposed to say that over on Twitch. And hey, so I'm drawing my graphic novel right now. For anybody who is just joining us right now, we're talking about Who the Heck Knows. But this is a very tiny panel, and I shouldn't be spending this much time on it, but I am, just because I don't know. I'm a loony with these. Sorry, squad. Call you Nin. Nin works. I can do Nin. What were we saying, squad? Something about
Sentinel Island. Okay, so
Sentinel
it's
Island.
basically an island, so where a tribe exists on the island, and like.
Oh, is this the tribe that like murders anybody who gets near them? Yes,
Yep.
That's not a great example. Yes, I know Sentinel Island. I love how the winner of the Darwin Awards last year, wasn't he the guy who went there and got murdered because he was trying to bring them the good book of the Bible, and he goes there, the guy taking him over on the boat got shot with a bunch of arrows. He got shot himself. He went back to recover and went back again.
Yeah, there's also a story of a couple of fishermen who slept on a boat, and the boat got too close to the island and they died. They got shot. And the example I wanted to bring was, say you threw a tribe in there, and you also threw, say, a group of wealthy people, or people who are of average pay, and you throw them into the island, on this planet or whatever.
Wherever.
So imagine, in some way, shape or form, this tribe is very defensive of what they have because they know they have very little compared to what they have. Right? So the wealthy people, they may get curious or something and step too close past the boundaries to see how the other people are going. And the tribal people think that they're there to steal the little that they have so that they can grow more wealthy. Basic human behavior, right? The rich get richer, while the poor suffer, right?
Sure.
So
Nin's trying to send me something here while you're talking, and I'm not sure what they're saying. Is there some way to send pictures on Twitch?
I'm gonna tell him.
Can you send it in Discord? Yeah.
That's the best way.
I would see it in Discord for sure. That hand's too big, by the way. That's why I'm stringing it.
So, say the tribe acted out of self-defense, and maybe killed a couple of people.
I think Ryu Hayato? Hope I said that right. Oh yeah, we got a bunch of Streamlabs stuff we gotta get fixed too, like the donation thing's not even functioning. Oh yeah, all the links are down in the description or whatever the heck you call those tab things I had to make for Twitch.
Okay, so I mean, no one's exactly in the wrong in this situation. It's a very specific situation, but one I wanted to bring an example with.
Yeah.
So, the tribe acts out of self-defense. Well,
they call that self-defense. It's well, if you consider it, they are defending their land, but the problem is they saw something as an assault that they shouldn't have. Yeah.
Yeah, so in that case, I believe that the wealthy people will start seeing the tribe as a threat and then will actively try and get rid of them.
Well, we don't do that now.
Yeah, no. But you have to consider that this isn't like a full-blown system at this point. It's still in a there's competition, right?
They could be floating on, you know, a metric butt ton of oil. I don't see them doing anything there.
Well, they can go two routes. Either they say, okay, let's leave them alone and never bother them again, or they go, let's eliminate them, and so that we'll definitely not have to bother them again.
Nin's having issues again. Nin, just scroll down. All the links are there.
Yeah, scroll down in the description of the Twitch chat. Wait, let me just send the link.
People just need to be less salt. Oh, he's talking more of like a study. But yeah, we were trying to get off this topic, weren't we?
There you go. I don't know. I think in some way, shape, or form, it could reemerge.
It's possible, yes. If situational things happen, but I think it's more likely you're gonna breed it out. Like there's way too many examples of species just in the past 100 years that humans have changed their biology in such a substantial way that they're practically a new species. I mean, just look at what happened to friggin' wolves. There's also cows. Like, do you think that milk cows were just grazing the Americas, you know, waiting to be turned into cheeseburgers? What we see as the milk cow is just not a real animal. It is a living GMO. People just don't know what they're talking about when they
say GMO.
Right.
Yeah, it triggers me so much. GMO, when people say there's chemicals in their food, it just ticks
People are
me off.
so stupid.
Yeah, it's not that they're stupid, it's just that they hear
Uninformed. It's the
Yeah.
I hate it when people I hate it when people try to take what little information they have and they think that it's everything.
Yeah, there's chemicals in everything. Everything's a chemical.
Yeah.
But when you say the word chemical, the first thing that pops into people's minds are pesticides and such. And that's
Right.
Yeah, there are many.
Which in some ways, because of pesticides, organic foods are actually more dangerous to eat. And cost more.
Yeah.
Yep. People make me sad.
Yeah, chemical, I searched it up, is defined as being a distinct compound or substance, especially one which has been artificially prepared or purified.
Mm.
There are natural chemicals, obviously. So, for example, in our stomachs, people don't seem to know that one of the strongest acids in existence lies in our stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hydrochloric acid.
Rio, what book are you writing? So I've actually completely written this book. This is me just going to the illustration phase, and it's one of those stories that if I told you what the premise was, I would either be lying to you or spoiling the story. So I'm gonna have to get really creative with the back of the cover kind of thing, and once I get to that point, then I can tell you guys. But for now, it's safest that I just not tell you. And Nin sent me something over on Discord. I have no idea what room. Yeah, how am I supposed to find that? I'm trying to open Discord here. Here we go. Yeah, it's not in general. Is it in attachments?
No, it's not there.
No, I just see some puggle wuggles on attachments trying to walk across one of those airline things. Whatever those little conveyor belt for people things are called.
I've only walked on them once in my life.
Really?
It was so weird. I just kept running on them and running back to run on them again.
Well, you haven't been to a really big airport?
I've been to a very big airport, yeah. I've been to
What do you
Frankfurt
consider a
Airport.
very big airport?
A very big, something that's bigger than ours.
Okay, well, I expect yours to be... How many planes does yours have?
We have one airport in the entire island.
I understand, but how many airplanes?
I have no idea.
wild guess. 3,
No,
12,
actually, we
huh?
have a constant of. We have an influx of planes. Are you saying like
I
planes that are
understand
coming
that,
in?
but they still own a set amount.
So Malta's planes, not planes like coming from other countries and such.
Oh no, those are fine. That still counts. But like at the end of the day, how many are staying there?
Let me check.
How many here? I don't think you understand my question. When you
Yeah,
go
I
there, how
understand.
many different waiting areas are there to get on planes?
I just don't go abroad that often, so I can't tell you for sure. But I think I went abroad like 5 times in my entire life.
Okay, but still.
Okay, so I think our biggest company has 10 planes.
10.
Yeah, our most known company,
Okay.
Airmont.
Look up Atlanta's airport. I've been there a lot. Atlanta, Georgia, by the way.
192 gates. Oh, is it the gates you were asking for?
Yes.
Okay, let me check in Malta. The thing is, it doesn't give me a solid number. It just gives me
Probably because there's only like
list
2.
of flights. No, there's more than 2. I think there are like 10, maybe.
Eh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they don't need those things unless they got, you know, a stupid amount of them.
So to put it into perspective, let me check something up. So I think the biggest airport in the world is Frankfurt Airport in Germany.
Yep.
It has 5,683 acres. Right?
Mm-hmm. The biggest I've been
Malta
to
is
is Atlanta.
Malta is 80,000 acres. So one Frankfurt Airport is like how big? Not 5%. It's definitely less than 5%. I'd say 2-3% of Malta's size.
It's hard to say.
Yeah. The thing is, with people, it's not. We're not really built to comprehend numbers.
And then jumped over to YouTube. You're like, what? You have 19,000 subs? I don't normally do this. I'm normally playing video game stuff, so these are just laid-back chat things when I need to get my book done, so I figure I might as well just stream and talk with you guys.
Well, how big is Cincinnati?
There's a couple in Cincinnati. There's several. There's one in,
Oh no, I meant how big is Cincinnati?
Oh, what do you mean?
As in the city, how big it is?
It depends. Like, what do you consider the city? Like, where the huge buildings stop? Or, like, the city limits? Because there's people who are, like, I don't know, 40-minute drives away that'll still say they're Cincinnati.
As in, I think the city limits. The land in Cincinnati.
See, like, I don't even think that's a fair way to say it, because, like, the city limit of Cincinnati is, like, still... There's people who say, like, Hamilton, or Harrison. There's, like, other city... They're called cities around us, but they still call themselves Cincinnati. If someone's from there, they'll still say it's Cincinnati. So it's...
Anyway, Google is telling me that it's like 51,000 acres.
If you're just talking about the actual city limits?
I think so, yeah.
Sure, maybe. I have no idea.
So
Just look at, like, more like the population, too, is only going to tell you people in just this area, and that's more like... If you looked at what they call it the tri-state area, which is where Cincinnati from Ohio meets northern Kentucky and eastern Indiana, that, like, circle is what people really call Cincinnati if they say they're from Cincinnati. So
the population in Cincinnati is 300k. In Malta, it's almost 500k. So in one city, in one state of the US, it's almost as big as Malta.
And I'm telling you, those numbers are also tragically underselling how big it really is. Because, like I said, there's so many districts and places around here. Like, you'd be, like, drawing a line and walking around to people outside that line saying you don't live in Cincinnati. They'll be like, what?
Okay, so let's take Ohio.
Yeah. Ohio's not, that's not going to make it bigger. Like I said, it's that tri-state area because it's northern Kentucky and eastern Indiana. So you'll never really get a good number, but whatever.
So according to Google, Ohio is 28 million acres.
Yeah, but there's a lot of corn and nothing up there. And Crystal, who's also up there. Potatoes.
I've kind of heard that the stereotype for Ohio is potatoes.
That's Idaho.
Oh, that's Idaho.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna say, I don't think there's any potatoes.
From what I know, the states that we don't learn about U.S. history almost at all here. We've learned a bit about the Cold War in secondary, but that's, I think, about it. From a foreigner's perspective, the states in the U.S. are Texas is Yeehaw land.
Texas is what?
Yeehaw land.
Yeehaw land?
Yeehaw, yeah.
Oh, that's so messed up. Texas, okay, here. You want to know where Hee-haw land is? That's basically Kentucky's stereotype. Alabama, Georgia. There's pretty much anything south of Ohio until you hit Florida, and it's all on the east side. So that doesn't even come close to Texas. Texas is more really far right, like big business. Yeah, that's about it. That sums it up. Very hyper religious. The mega churches are all down there.
But for me.
Yeah, tell me the others. I want to know the others, and I want to correct what they really are.
As an uninformed foreigner.
Yes.
Don't
feel bad.
Man is for the Florida man meme.
What's for Florida?
The Florida man meme.
You want to know what Florida actually is, though? This stereotype?
Yeah.
That's where all the old people go.
Oh.
Which kind of makes sense. So everyone who drives down in Florida drives like an old person. It's bad.
Washington is where the president lives.
No!
New York is where the Statue of Liberty lives.
Hold on, go back. That's not even correct. Okay.
Is it?
Washington, D.C. is not in the state of Washington.
What?
No, it's on the other side of the country. Look at a map, type in Washington, state, and then get another map, Washington, D.C.
Why is Washington, D.C. on the other side of Washington?
Opposite side of the freaking country.
Why?
Well, here, why is there a city in Ohio called Athens? You know, why is there a city in Ohio? I'm pretty sure there's a London. There is a Washington in Ohio as well. The place is, okay, here, like, the place is too large that you actually start running out of names. You know, like, they name things based on, especially here, it's a land of immigrants, so think about that. People want to name things based on things they remember where they're from. So, for an example, there is a really, really bad area here, ghetto-y, that the hipsters are trying to call for their own, called Over the Rhine. And it's named that way from the Rhine River. I believe it's from Ireland, but I'm not positive. So anyway, yeah, that kind of stuff, that's why it's named like that. But yeah, there's a lot of carryover and reused names. But the Washington, D.C. thing, I had to nip that in the bud immediately. What did you say after that? Yeah, Washington, D.C. is not even a state. That's just a city in a state.
New York is where the Statue of Liberty lives.
That's true. You know where that came from?
The Statue of Liberty?
Yeah.
No.
Oh. I believe it's from
We,
the French.
we learn nothing about America here. Nothing.
I'm trying to help you.
We learned so little about America. I used to think Mexico was in Spain.
Why?
Yeah,
Because they speak Spanish? Is that why?
yeah. It was a revelation to say the least.
I mean,
What else?
that's so weird because, like, I kind of, growing up in the middle of one of these random states that are united, which everywhere else should really know that a state is another word to say country, but around here people are too dumb and don't seem to understand that. But of these, because they really act as one large unit, and we get
Yeah.
bossed around like one large unit.
Yeah, the idea of a state kind of confuses me.
It kind of what?
Country makes more sense. The idea of a state confuses me. Country makes more sense.
Well, it's just another word for the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not like Ohio is different from Malta. It's just think as if there was like 49 other Maltas floating around right next to you of varying sizes, and because you're getting invaded by the angry Italians who are all coming to take your land. Yeah, you all.
If you want to talk about invasions, look no further than Malta. We've been invaded throughout the course of our history like 8, 9 times. I think more.
By the white man?
By the what?
By the white man?
No, actually, Turkey, the Byzantines.
Oh, jeez.
We are. One of the things I'm most proud of as a Maltese is the Great Siege. It was in 1565, right?
Yeah.
That at that time we were kind of being ruled by the Knights of Saint John, right?
Are you telling me your last like big war invasion was from the 1500s?
Oh no, there were more.
Okay, I was gonna say.
If you want something funny, the French invaded us once. They were like one of the last people that invaded us.
I'm not
French and
surprised.
English. So we have a lot of walled cities here, right?
Yeah.
Because of our history of being invaded and such. We have a lot of walled cities, and our main city is Valletta. Valletta is like this big project that was heralded in by the Knights of Saint John to kind of build their base of operations in. Because it's near the sea, they could easily, because the Knights of Saint John were a naval force, say they wanted a place by the sea that could be very well defended. So it was kind of like this passion project for the Grand Master La Valette, which is why the city is called Valletta, or the Grand Master La Valette. How do I still remember this? Anyways, so if you want to hear something funny, the French invaded us, and the Maltese, we despised the French so much that we locked them in our capital city and called the British on them, so that they can they can get rid of them for us.
It's
so
funny.
It kind of put this image in their head. The French are minding their own business in Valletta, pillaging our churches and stuff, and so the Maltese locked them in our capital cities and called the British to come and take care of them. It's just, and it actually worked. Then we got invaded by the British, and we were under the British. Then we became.
We had a war against ourselves.
Oh, the civil. I know.
And we won.
Yeah.
And we also lost.
I also know from memes. Hello.
Yeah.
Someone else
Holy
joined the meme.
crap. Hi, Hamster. Hi, Squad.
Hi. What was with the crap? Why is it so holy?
I guess even a polished turd is still a turd. But, I work. I am so annoyed with them right now. I
Are
really
you-
am.
You can't be back already. Are you on lunch or something?
No, I went into work and I found out they changed my schedule. And
That happened to
there
me
was not-
before. I freaking hate that.
Not even 24 hours notice. I checked it before I left.
Uh-huh.
I went there,
Mm-hmm.
and then it changed.
That happened to me. Here, get this. That happened to me on the last day before I went back to school. I think I was in high school at the time when I worked at a Hobby Lobby in the area. I was a custom framer, by the way. So I went there. It was the last day before I had to go back to school. I was working there seasonally at the time. And I'd been there for several years beforehand. So it's not like they didn't know me and they were treating me like garbage.
Yeah.
I go there and the same thing happens. I'm walking in and they're like, oh, well, that's not what the schedule says. I'm like, but I have a photo of the schedule from 2 days ago. If you changed it, you were supposed to notify me and you didn't. And they're like, well, there's somebody already here, so you just go home. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm saying, okay, well, when should I contact you about coming back in the spring? And the manager's like, just don't. And she just went back inside. I went, all right. I had no problems with you at all. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, great. Oh yeah, that was. I guess that counts as another business that burned the bridge on me. I didn't even count them. They were high school days. We're talking about contrary historical accounts, and also I'm giving a history lesson now. Normally we talk about all sorts of science and random stuff.
Space stuff.
Oh man, space is where it's at, you know.
Yeah.
But what was it? Squad's learning about the American history and all the stuff that you don't get taught in school. There's a lot of American history that isn't taught in our own schools. That is sad and
Yeah.
awful. We've done a lot of terrible things. A lot of terrible things. One of yeah.
I was talking about the siege of the Great Siege of Malta. So, picture this: Malta in 1565. About 400 Maltese men, women, and children trapped inside our previous capital city, which was Medina. But no, or was it? Anyways, they were. No, it was Valletta. It was Valletta, I think. Anyways, whichever it was, trapped inside the city, with an entire Ottoman Empire attacking us, while we're waiting for reinforcements from Spain. Right? So us and the Knights of St. John manage to repel an entire empire with like 2,000 foot soldiers and 400 Maltese men, women, and children.
The Ottoman Empire was insane.
Yeah, and we repelled
Freaking
them
insane.
with 2,000 foot soldiers and 400 Maltese women, and children. We managed to repel an entire Ottoman Empire. And
Well,
like,
you didn't. They did.
oh no.
You were just good buddy-buddy. You know, it's actually little countries that are buddy-buddy with big countries is what gave us World War I and World War II. You know that, right?
Yep.
So I don't attribute... I am not attributing any success to Malta there. How many Maltese went up to stop the freaking Ottoman Empire?
The thing is that we weren't buddy-buddy with a country. It was because the Knights of St. John were buddy-buddy with the country, and the Knights of St. John were invading Malta.
That's the point.
We had nothing to do with it, and we were forced into this war that we had nothing to do with, and we managed to fight them off.
Because otherwise, like, if the Ottoman Empire just came straight for you, you'd be gone.
There's a good video I need to send you about this. I can send it to you after the stream if you want. About
The squad. That story kind of reminds me of one that my dad always kept telling me about. The ancestors of my ancestors of my family's heritage, and yeah, that was something else.
I love RNG Glaceon's description of Maltese history.
Which one?
It sounds like Fire Emblem, beating an empire with only 10 soldiers.
I honestly like this. I think one of the higher ups of the Ottoman.
What a way to go.
I believe they fired the cannon and the rock came back at his face and killed him.
I'm sorry.
I want to make sure. That's what I remember from history class like 10 years ago. No, not 10 years ago, 6 years ago.
I could barely hear what you said. The music got louder.
Oh my god. The squad's saying that he remembers something in history of a guy firing a cannon, but then he died by a ricochet rock.
Let me check, I want to make sure.
I'm like, oh dear.
He died in the siege of Malta, that's for sure.
Here it is.
The squad looks it up going, I swear there was somewhere.
Yeah. On 17 June 1565, Dragut was mortally injured when he was hit by splinters from a cannon. But wait, being one generals in the Ottoman Empire and dying by a splinter.
Yep. I could definitely see that being like, oh, okay.
It's up to dying because they slipped on a banana.
Did you guys hear the Kangaskhan Khan episode I did in Pokedex Paradox? For Genghis Khan? Did I cut out, or did you cut out?
Yeah. Yeah.
You cut out.
I said, have you heard my episode of Pokedex Paradox for Genghis Khan?
You cut out at exactly the position where I don't know if you said Gengar or Gangnam Style.
I'm pretty sure there's not a Pokedex paradox of Gangnam Style.
The next Pokedex Paradox of Oppan Gangnam Style.
That just reminds me, I actually saw something really cute, really cute, but also kind of like, huh, okay. Coming home from work one night, there was this Korean mother and her son, like very young son, like he was only like 3 or 4 years old, but he's dancing in the subway to Gangnam Style, and
Saba Saba here!
And I'm just like, oh my god, that is adorable, but
Mostly obnoxious.
obnoxious, but it was adorable.
But mostly obnoxious.
Hey Hamster, can you give me a quick grammar lesson?
Sure.
Is it not a grammar? It's pronunciation. Is it Arkansas or Arkansas?
Arkansas.
I heard both. Why?
You've heard Arkansas?
Yes, I have heard Arkansas. And it's spelled like Arkansas. Why shouldn't we call it Arkansas? Where's the double?
You go ask them that.
Who do I ask? I can send them an
Anyone who lives there, you won't come back alive. I don't know why. They're very particular. Like, what's the other one? There's one that's actually a lot harder. An American one, you know Mackinac? That's not one, but I was thinking of, but, Mackinac. It's spelled Mackinac, but it's Mackinac.
Why?
It just is. There's, gosh. Louisville. It should be, Louisville. But it's Louisville. Like, 2 syllables, Louisville. You have to say it like that, or they're the ones who actually get angry if you say it Louisville.
Is it a state or is it a city? Is it a state or a city?
Louisville's a city.
Louisville's a city. Yeah, Louisville.
Yeah,
Louisville. You gotta say it right, Iris. They're coming. Oh Lord, they coming. They hear you. They're everywhere. They got people everywhere.
Up in Canada, we pronounce it Louisville, Kentucky. Okay.
Oh, you don't tell them that. Oh Lord, they coming. They're gonna get you. Get you both.
I probably can say a few things that.
You cut out. I don't know what you even were gonna almost say. So, what's up with the internet anymore? It's whenever I use this dual streaming software, or maybe it's probably just like the quality settings we've got set up in Streamlabs OBS. But like, here's the thing: the output on OBS Streamlabs is much lower than it is on my regular OBS, and I put out higher quality bitrate and just better quality video, when I'm not using the new and improved. It doesn't make sense to me.
Fine, like
Huh?
for the entirety of this. You are fine for the entirety of this.
I can't hear what he says. I
You
was
were
Just
fine
your-
for the entirety of.
I'm getting
Scott,
you
like-
but the entire of this but it
We're going back to Jimmy from South Park.
I'm so.
I'm assuming you were trying to say I was fine for the entirety of the stream.
You were fine for the entire stream up until now,
Is it just
apparently.
the worst possible time?
Is it just
I guess it is just.
or the worst possible time? Like, what's he saying?
Oh dear, stream.
Is the stream lagging?
No, stream quality's still good. But
Also, I think I might. By soon, I mean.
Oh, by the way, I mean, but
we're just making fun of the cut out audio now.
it's cutting out at the worst possible times. I'm sure he's over there like, I'm just trying to tell him this one very simple thing. And it keeps cutting out the wrong words. I wonder if there's some way I could adjust the settings so that it works better. Is he really gonna try and type to me now? Could be Discord that's suffering. Iris is fine. Iris, sing me a little song. It's always Hakuna Matata. It's always Hakuna Matata.
Bruh.
Iris is fine.
One Mississippi, two Mississippi, three Mississippi.
It'll work when you test, just not when you try and tell us something. RNG, sounds like that hay must be hit. Thanks for sticking around and listening to us rant about history and psychology and all sorts of other weird stuff.
Tomorrow.
It's the best when he's... And then he tries to tell you that... But that's not when the best part happens. That's when the... Oh. Man, why does a fight with Tigrex need to distract me from all these shenanigans? Tigrex is one mean mamma jamma. Bruh.
You should.
Ah, Kim just got back. Sounds like the internet's not working anyway.
Why my internet commitment die?
I'm getting kind of hungry, so I think I'm gonna get something to eat, get something to drink. Plus, I actually need Kim's help for putting this thing up behind my head, so it'd be kind of a weird live stream just watching my butt put that up on the wall. So, squad's almost
There are
here.
people who'd pay for that.
I mean, in your hunter's booties dance around on the episode.
I do have a Monster Hunter shirt on. There's that. So I think we gotta be running out of Banjo-Kazooie music. I did not get very far. See, that's what happens when I'm not, or when I'm inking with you guys. Issues.
The focus is lost.
Yeah, right. Completely.
Is my internet is still doing the die, or is my internet is not doing the die?
Well, it's probably better now that I gotta get going. I'm legitimately pretty hungry anyway. But anyway, I'm gonna be doing more streams coming soon. Tomorrow is really busy for me, so I'm not gonna be able to do anything tomorrow. But we'll see after that. And game-wise, I'm not even sure what might be coming next. I was even thinking of doing Q-Charm again. So, we'll see. But anyway, I gotta get going. So, thank you guys so much for joining me for whatever the heck you watched for the past 3 hours. But that's all the time I have for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like the videos and subscribe for more. I will see you all in the next stream. Oh, yep.